If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is Scorpio Sky, and you are listening to the Keepin It Strong Style podcast, and it is the best.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frogs. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith and Karen Peterson from Post Wrestling. On today's show, we'll review Final Homecoming and cover all latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping a Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice, and leave a rating and review. You can go to all the network's podcasts over at socialsuplex.com. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style for IWGP subscribers. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, you can sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. Karen, thanks for joining us this week.
It's been a long time, fellas. I'm glad to finally catch up with you.
Yeah.
It's not for lack of trying.
I am a very, very tired woman. I'm not going to say that I was busy because I wasn't busy, but I'm just tired.
No, I was going to say this off the air, but everyone should know that we were delayed because I was unprofessional. So we were supposed to record about like 12 minutes ago, so that's my fault. But when we invited Karen, and we're going to talk about it, obviously, but like the idea was that this is the replacement for Power Struggle, right? And it's, you know, Tanahashi's go home show. And my thinking was like, all right, well, this is where they're going to announce his last person or, you know, his final opponent. It's going to be a super newsworthy show. And it's going to be packed to the gills. And we need to bring in the big guns. So that's why we're bringing in Karen. And then we saw the card announced the day before. And I almost like was like, hey, Karen, you can come on if you want. Of course, we want you to come on, but you don't have to because.
And it's funny because, you know, Josh and I were talking over the weekend, too, about the show. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Nothing's announced yet. I don't know what they're doing. I'm like, bro, I have a feeling it's gonna be like random multi-man tags. And he's like, no. I'm like, that's what I feel we're gonna get, man. We're gonna get the 3 big matches, and then it's just gonna be a bunch of road to filler. That's exactly what happened.
Because to pull the curtain back, when Josh invited me on, we had a long phone call last week talking about strategies and everything else, and I was really hyped. And then like the card came out Saturday night, and I was like, I got to talk about this show times in less than 24 hours. Okay.
The only thing that didn't make me feel bad was when you basically said that you were already going to do this show the day before with Wei Ting. And I was like, well, she's already reviewing it anyways. What's one more podcast going to hurt?
I mean, this is going to be like, I am a premium content creator over at the Post Wrestling. I'm behind the cafe paywall. So while this is limited for your live IWGP tier fans, this is a pseudo preview for what we would like to call the freeloader content over at Post, where if I'm going to give my honest feelings, it's going to be like, I'm going to have to be like, yes, for you guys, I will.
Nice. Well, before
we're glad to have you back.
I mean, for all of my friends in the, Keepin It Strong Style Discord, the deadbeat Discord daddy is home, y'all.
Well, before we jump into Final Homecoming, real quick, we have to name the October Wrestler of the Month and the Match of the Month. So, Josh, you want to take it away with the Match of the Month?
Yeah, so I mean, this one, I don't think it's that controversial, but maybe it will be to some listeners. The match of the month for October was the King of Pro Wrestling title defense, where Zack Sabre Jr. dropped the title to the new reigning champion, Konosuke Takeshita. There was a bit of controversy when this match, in the days following on social media, when there was all of these polls that were going out and people saying, that there was like 3 or 4 matches better on that show than that match. And that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But we here at Keepin It Strong Style, we were both very close to 5 stars. I think that's one of the best matches of the year, putting all politics and, feelings about the booking aside, in between the ropes in that ring, easily the best match between these two gentlemen. And they've had at least one other really fantastic match in the G1 this year. And hard for us to deny the greatness of Takeshita and Zack.
Yeah, incredible matchup and easy for me, match of the month. And then we go to the Wrestler of the Month. Very interesting month. It was a very busy month for New Japan, between shows and tournaments, stuff like that. And also, Zack and Takeshita top end match. And, maybe you might want to give it to Takeshita because of that match and he wins the title. But we're going to go with our good friend Robbie Eagles and Kosei Fujita, the Ichiban Sweet Boys, for their performance in the Super Junior Tag League. So a very intense, 2.5 week tournament. They were the top team in the B block, top team in the whole tournament, even though they didn't get to the finals. They were the team to watch night in and night out. And so they had just a lot of really good matches. Nothing peaked as high as Zack and Takeshita, but the fact that they were there night in, night out, having great performances, standout team in the tournament, that's why we're going with Ichiban Sweet Boys.
I don't know, that B block tag team final, pretty good. But there were it was an interesting month, 14 shows, but it was broken up by you had KOPW and all the road twos, and then you had the Super Junior Tag League, and then you want to throw Taiji Ishimori's produce show in there, I guess.
No.
And,
I think that's this month. Right?
No, that was October. Well, he has another one coming up now.
Okay, so yeah, he's like, it's really, really the last time. Honestly,
I guess so.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be the running gag is that he keeps bringing it back.
But Jeremy was gone for the first portion of the month, and I had to man the ship here. And some honorable mentions. Yuto Ice had a fantastic, not only with the Knockout Brothers, Bombaclat.
Let's get high.
Some really fantastic performances, but I think the Super Junior Tag League kind of took the wind out of his sails a little bit. Gabe Kidd, Takeshita, and Zack, all 3 guys that had fantastic top end matches, but weren't really around after KOPW. Hypothetically, if we were able to actually see the Kushida versus Zack match in China, maybe we'd be having a different discussion here. But unfortunately, the historic crossover wasn't so historic, so we didn't get to see that. And then the only other 2 people that probably were worth discussion were Tsuji and Tanahashi, mainly based on their output during the month, their consistency, but the tail end of the month really focused on that Super Junior Tag League, and it was Ichiban Sweet Boys that did the Lord's work during that tour. So
yeah, shout out to the Ichiban Sweet Boys. Well, let's jump into Hiroshi Tanahashi's Final Homecoming. This happened this past Sunday. Yep.
I gotta get a plug out here. So number one, thanks to Jeremy, Tanahashi, Ace of the Universe, episodes 07, 08, 09 are currently on the Keepin It Strong Style Patreon. Those are all available to Patreon subscribers on the $5 tier. 2010 is already in the can. I just need to get it uploaded for Jeremy. 2011 is ready to be recorded, and we're gonna have 2012 done in the next couple days. So you can expect before the end of this week another 3 episodes to come out, and I'm hoping to power straight through into 2013. So we're getting into the golden age of New Japan Pro Wrestling. One other thing too, I did some Patreon audio on Sunday evening with Joel Abraham from Super J-Cast. He invited me onto their Patreon page to do a extremely in-depth review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, completely non-wrestling related, just horror discussion. But they are going to kindly and graciously provide us with that audio. Jeremy, I said they should send it to you, so be on the lookout for that. But we're going to put that behind the paywall as well, and that will be available to subscribers. And I got to tell you, like, I have some good takes and stuff, and I added some color, but Joel, this is like his favorite fucking thing in life, not even just like favorite movie. It's like one of his favorite things that has ever existed. And the amount of detail and study and research and, insight that he brought was pretty fucking phenomenal. So definitely check that out, especially if you're a horror fan or if you just like to hear movie talk.
Nice. Yeah, check that out. And whenever they send us the audio, it'll be up on the Patreon. So Tanahashi Final Homecoming this past Sunday, November 2nd in Gifu Memorial Center Gymnasium. We had a reported attendance here of 3,742. So show opened up. We had Bolton Oleg, Shomakato, and Tatsuya Matsumoto defeating Katsuyama Hiroshima, Masatori Yasuda, and Zayn J. So also no really big story elements here. It's kind of the continued battle with the in-house Noge Dojo Young Lions. There has been lots of talks of Young Lion Cup, so maybe they're heating up for that. Karen, we haven't really heard your thoughts on a lot of the new Young Lions. What are you thinking about this crop of guys that we have right now?
I'm still, I don't want to say the jury's out for me, but I want them to be featured a lot more before I can make any good decisions. One of the things I am curious, though, is what their excursion system is going to be moving forward. Like if they're going to continue the dispatch of sending them internationally to their international partners, or if they're going to kind of do what they did with Daiki Nagai and, Kosei Fujita and Ryohei Oiwa and domestically, or send them to Australia with Robbie Eagles sort of pattern. Like I'm very curious to know what the plan with the Young Lions moving forward is going to be. Now that while there is New Japan Academy in California, it seems like the La Dojo is defunct. So I'm curious to see what they would be doing with them.
Yeah, the LA Academy is a work, so unfortunately. But if you notice, like Matsumoto, he recently, and I mean, he's a pretty brand new Young Lion. He's already trying to make oversions to join up with Hirooki Goto and become part of Goto's revolutionary army. So kind of echoing the same sentiments that we've seen with some of the other Young Lions who like Daiki Nagai, who's now with the fake LIJ, and then Kosei Fujita before him, who aligned himself with TMDK. And I think that those are echoes and sentiments of probably a key indication of what they're doing in terms of development.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys that are in that vein follow suit with Oiwa and Fujita and kind of stick around domestically, or even just have abbreviated excursions.
Yeah.
But I think it would still be incumbent on them to diversify and still seek out the right guys to send to Mexico and to the UK. And, if a miracle ever happened, send them to the US and maybe have them work for Tony Khan. I don't know if that is part of the partnership or not, it remains to be seen, but it should have happened by now in the, how many years, 5 years that this thing's been going on, and it's still yet to occur. Apparently only Ishii gets to have that excursion experience, but all right.
Him and Minoru Suzuki, that's it. those young lads are the only guys on excursion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be definitely good to get those guys out there. I think one of the things that a lot of the wrestlers nowadays, some of the young wrestlers, something they're lacking is not having the ability to go out and wrestle all these different styles. Like nowadays, like if you're good, you're pretty much getting signed, and then if you're in America, you're working AEW, WWE, you're working maybe once, maybe twice a week, and you're working a certain style. Whereas, back in the day, you're going from territory to territory, you're going to different countries. You think of journeymen, guys like, Jericho and Eddie and a lot of those guys, Dean Malenko, like these guys were all over territories. They were traveling, doing tours in Japan, going to Europe. And so they were able to get the best of all these different styles and really up their experience. And so I think that's still a big part of wrestling. I feel like guys, if they were able to do more tours and excursions, would get better, get more reps. And so I love the domestic plan. I mean, that's been interesting, a different wrinkle. And obviously it's worked out for Fujita, and it seems like it's working out for Daiki Nagai so far. But I do think that it is a benefit to send guys over to Rev Pro, send them over to CMLL, send them to Australia, get different style, different crowd, and just learn some different tools that they might not learn just wrestling in New Japan.
Absolutely.
I have 3 interesting things to add to this. So doing the Tanahashi series has really given me a lot of insight to some of the deeper history that, I've always been pretty knowledgeable, but I'm learning more as I go along. And I've noticed this kind of trend where before the era of Inoki and Choshu's retirement, almost every trainee, there's almost no exceptions. Every trainee that came through that dojo system that stuck around, they all did go on an overseas excursion of some sort. Then you get to the era where the dark ages start happening, and a lot of the young guys like Tanahashi and Nakamura, especially the guys that are marketable and that they see a future with, they don't send them anywhere. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, money. Yeah. They couldn't necessarily afford to be sending as many guys away. Number 2, they needed those marketable guys who, even though they weren't ready, they still needed to kind of put them in that place. And there wasn't the ability for someone like Tanahashi and Nakamura to have the reps that they needed early on to work with top guys, because there was this old guard that was holding on, and they had to come up the hard way to kind of create the environment that by 2010, Ibushi and Omega and Ospreay and Jay White and, Goto and all these guys were able to flourish under. And it was a rebuilding period. And I feel like there are some similarities, because what happened, there's so many of the old guard that were top stars, they left the company when times got bad. And the same thing has happened here. And there's a lot of interesting comparison points. Another thing is I really am digging Matsumoto, even though he's only been there a very short period of time. I think he's another guy kind of like Daiki Nagai who's starting to kind of get it. Yeah. And I don't know if there's a shift in the mentality of these lions, that someone's feeding them something that's like, hey, you don't want to be another one of these just generic young lions. You want to kind of ingratiate yourself and make a mark early. And we're starting to see some of the guys flex their personalities a little bit more than we're used to seeing. It seems like it's been since the days of Hiromu that something like that happened. And then finally, this is an interesting thing. You know how we always talk about how it's so rare for them to have these young lions go under the wings of the veterans? Yeah. And I kind of forgot that Bad Luck Fale did that. He didn't go on an excursion, and I'm just kind of remembering now that he went under Nagata's wing and got immediately brought into the Segigun or the Blue Justice Army. And he was he was basically his Cody Hall or his his Hikuleo, where it was he was a young lion, but kind of not really because of how big he was. And we always kind of forget about that when we're doing all of our comparisons of people that have gone through that sort of thing, where they skipped the excursion and got brought under the wing of somebody. King Fale started that way, and I kind of forgot about that.
I like to forget about Fale at times.
You know what, though? King Fale, when he was motivated, number one, a good looking dude. Number two, pretty trim and pretty agile. Like it's kind of crazy. Even before the Bullet Club.
Yeah, that was a peak.
It was only downhill from there.
So Boltin picks up the win here with the verdict, aka the F5, gets the win for his team there, and we'll see what's up for Boltin heading into Dome season.
My one question to you guys, and you can speak to this because I was a little perplexed. Why is Boltin Oleg in here just bullying on all of his old dojo mates? Like, is this the only thing that they could do with him on this tour? Like, I don't know. That's for a guy that has beaten the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion in this calendar year and almost went to the finals of the G1 and was the never champion for an extended period. Like, why is this what he's doing in the lead up to the Tokyo Dome? It's weird.
Well, kind of like how we were all discussing at the top of the show about how this card kind of feels like it was just like thrown together at the last minute. The undercard to this entire show sort of, at least to me, felt like they just wanted to throw all of the juniors that were on the tour onto to make this kind of like a highlight reel special for them. So there really wasn't anywhere else to put him for the time being. So that like he's kind of I don't want to say that he's taking the New Japan dad role in this particular match, but he kind of is. But I don't know if they're, because of the year he's had, they're probably poising him for something in 2026. But right now he's just kind of spinning his wheels while they sort some other things out. Before, like, I feel like there's too many moving parts that they've kind of just put on the back burner for the time being.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see where he fits in Dome season. Obviously, we're going to get into a lot of Dome developments as we get later on this card, but obviously Never title is tied up. Global World title are tied up. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can, if he gets a partner, World Tag League, maybe.
Gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, Rambo.
The never six man gauntlet.
Now, here's the only thing I would be okay with. If he does end up in the Rambo, I'm totally fine with it. If he just beats everybody and just dominates, and then he's the number one contender going into the new year, because then we're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
I mean, I would throw him in front of anybody on New Year's Dash just to shake things up.
Yeah, and we saw last year, obviously, Goto winning the Rambo to get a title shot. So if they kind of keep that new wrinkle going, yeah, I think Boltin winning that and then challenging the winner of Tsuji and Takeshita could be a good look for a new beginning. Well, let's jump to the next match. We had the TMDK team of Hartley Jackson and the Ichiban Sweet Boys defeating Daiki Nagai, Gato, and Hiromu Takahashi. So Ichiban Sweet Boys and Gato and Hiromu, Daiki Nagai, and Clark, they all failed to get to the finals of the tournament. So kind of like you were saying, Karen, just kind of throwing everybody who was in the tournament on this tour here on the card. So no really big story developments here. It's kind of a nice, fun match. I mean, obviously some continued, War Dog unaffiliated stuff with Gato teaming with Hiromu and the guy.
I mean, that's going to be the theme of most of tonight's show, is just the fact that most of these matches just kind of did what you see at the end of World Tag League, which is like all the guys that were in the tournament but didn't, final. They just put them in a multi-man match to close things out. And there's really no stakes. There's really no progression. You would have at least hoped, considering where this is in the calendar year and the fact that it's replacing Power Struggle, that we would have seen at least some level of angles or developments or surprises or announcements. But considering the fact that it's all juniors and they're essentially New Japan's version of Divas, that's not going to happen here. So,
oh, that hurts. It hurts because it's true.
Give juniors a chance.
Oh no, that's a deep cut from 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of my pet peeves about the way that this tournament and likely how World Tag League is going to be held this year, is that there was very little pomp and circumstance for this tournament. There was no big, like on the previous pay-per-view on King of Pro Wrestling, there was no like big block reveals, there was no participant reveals. It was just like a press conference and they're like, here's everybody participating.
Here you go.
Like, and there was no press like it didn't, like there was no hype surrounding it. And like, it's not like it's a big surprise that it's on the calendar this time of year, because it always is somewhere after G1 season and before the Dome. but it just it doesn't feel special. And not that it was always super special, but at least in previous years, it felt something. It invoked something in me.
Yeah, I mean, even the last couple of years, and we've mentioned it several times now with Jet Setters and Catch 2-2 and Clark and Drilla and then Ichiban Sweet Boys. Like, there was some excitement and some buzz around this tournament just because the teams are good. I mean, New Japan didn't really treat it any differently. Yeah. But you had some really solid teams that were putting on some really great tag team wrestling matches.
And it's hard with their junior tags is that like either half, like all the popular ones, either half of that team is either injured or they've gone freelance or they've gone heavyweight. So it's like there hasn't been any replacements made in the junior division except for the same 4 or 5 guys that are just kind of treading water.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like this year's World Tag League has a lot more juice behind it with the injection of the Knockout Brothers and some of these other new coupled tag teams. So it feels like they've flip-flopped. Last year, people were excited about this tournament and not World Tag League. And now this year, you're starting to hear buzz where people are like, I do want to watch I'm going to cherry pick World Tag League at least, which is something. Yeah. And almost nobody watched this tournament.
I'm included in that.
The other thing too, though, is that I've always been, and maybe this is just showing my bias, but I've always been a big proponent of this tournament having the classic single elimination format. I don't think it lends itself as well to a lengthy double block round robin. And it's like, it is nice when, we get New Japan Cup. That's fun. That's exciting. That's fresh. Boom, 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 boom. That's what junior wrestling is. We already have the round robin for best of the super juniors.
Yeah.
I don't think they need a whole nother block tournament. It's nice to break things up when you have a couple single elimination tournaments in the year to kind of just change up the pace. And I like that better.
Same.
Part of me wonders if it's just to not stall for time, but kind of to pad out the tour because
it is.
They don't want to bring everybody on the road when the juniors are the ones headlining the shows theoretically.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But there's a way to format that tournament. Yeah. You don't have to.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at how many nights they've been able to get. There's one time where like New Japan Cup used to be like 3 nights, 5 nights. Now it's like 12, 13 nights. And it's like they've been able to milk that. They could have milked this too. It's fine.
Yeah. So Hartley Jackson picks up the win here over Daiki Nagai, Death Valley Driver. So Hartley Jackson picking up a rare win here. Good to see.
And I don't know that we have to add too much to the rest of these undercard matches for the most part, honestly, unless there's some sort of interesting story thing going on.
Yeah. Well, the following matchup, more leftovers from the tournament. We had Funky Carrot, Dragon Dia, Ryusuke Taguchi teaming up with Kushida and Yuki Yoshioka, and they defeated Desperado, Kukai, Tiger Mask, and Yamato. So, again, just kind of the leftover guys there. Really no interesting story coming out of that one.
It was just fun to watch. Didn't overstay its welcome. Yeah. That's about it.
That's the one good thing. These undercard matches were short. They were fine. Road 2 level multi-mans for the most part.
Yeah. So following that, we had the House of Torture team, Dick Togo, Evil, Ren Narita, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Yujiro Takahashi defeating Master Wato, Shota Umino, Toriano, Yo, and Yuya Uemura in 6 minutes and 18 seconds. And the big thing here was post-match, House of Torture is House of Torturing, and Aaron Wolf once again runs in the ring, does the big judo throw to Evil. Karen, I don't think we've really heard your thoughts on Aaron Wolf. There's been lots of opinions. There's a lot of opinions on this angle as well. What have been your thoughts on Aaron Wolf in general and these 2 angles that we've seen recently?
I feel like they're doing a very intentional, slow introduction to him to get people familiar with him, which I think is a good thing. I think, giving him such a big debut at the Dome, it's going to be like they're trying to find the right way to introduce him to the crowd and make them excited about him, especially if they're not familiar with him. Now, hear me out. because I'm about to compliment Evil, and I need you just to stay with me just for a few minutes.
This is a safe space.
I'm worried about the comment section after this.
Well, believe it or not, our Discord, they're sickos. They love Evil.
Our Discord loves the House of Torture.
Right.
It's so weird.
Okay, so that being said, Evil, love him or hate him, he has become one of those reliable hands. If you were to think of like Goto in a couple of years, he's your guy. He's the one that you can slot in anywhere on the card where you need him. Do I want better for him? That's another diatribe for another day. However, when he needs to work, he'll put his working boots on and he'll work. I think he is a good compliment and someone who will sell for Aaron Wolf. I think he will help Wolf cover up the shortcomings that he may have transitioning from, amateur wrestling into professional wrestling. I like where it's going. And, is it going to be a 20-minute classic? I don't think so. Is it going to have House of Torture shenanigans? If they do, I hope they're very minimal. But I feel like Evil is, whether we love him or hate him, he's being slotted as this guy who's not the gatekeeper, but he's someone that you can pair with anyone. And if he puts his working boots on, you can have a good match with him. And I think that's what someone like Aaron Wolf needs. And it's like Evil knows that he sometimes he'll be at the top of the card. Sometimes he has to do something that's a little more different, like this being probably, even though it is a championship match, it's probably gonna be on the lower end of the final card stacking. But I think it's a good opportunity. And I think it does say a lot of what the company thinks of Evil, or, Takaaki Watanabe, if you want to drop his government name in the chat, it is that he does have the skills and he does have the tenure with the company where they're willing to trust him with such an investment in the company's future.
Yeah.
And I want him to wrestle like LIJ Evil. I need the wrestler portion of him to do the wrestling portion a bit more.
I wouldn't count on that part of it.
I'm hoping beyond hope. So
I think a lot of what you've said here kind of actually echoes a lot of the analysis that me and Jeremy have had over the past, couple months, just about why it does make sense that his first match is Evil and how that probably will play out. I think the one big question I still have is what's the follow-up, and maybe that's not as important for right now. For right now, it's focusing on like one step at a time. Let's get through this big show. Let's create the moment so we can get on, Japanese national like sports news and have the clips of him throwing everybody. And I get that, but I am nervous about what the follow-up is.
I mean, if I may, I'd say the follow-up is probably a Haas fight with a Bolton Oleg or a Shingo Takagi or somebody that we know that can, do the Never division justice, put the belt on him and just let him go and see what happens. And then let Evil do the normal House of Torture fighting with Bullet Club, forever circling the drain, starting a new beginning.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if they end up making it a title match. Because as of right now, it's non-title, but Aaron Wolf did pick the title up, so they probably will maybe turn into a title match. But yeah, if he does win, I think the Never division could be good for him because, like you mentioned, there's a lot of good hands there. Shingo, Goto, Bolton Oleg, Drilla, yeah, guys that work that hard hitting style.
You leave Yano out of this.
Y'all laugh. Yano is an elite athlete. He's one of the best wrestlers.
I'm a Yano fangirl, so I'm like,
yeah. As far as this angle, thought it was fine. I'm going to echo a lot of the kind of criticism I had with the first angle, where I do think there still is, and I don't know if he's not being instructed, but I feel like there's still a lack of fire from him, and just a lack of something. Like, he hit that judo throw, and you can tell there's a little bit of stalling about what do I do next.
I think I'm not going to say it's nerves because he is an Olympic athlete, but it could be. There is a bit of difference between wrestling in a sports environment and the performance portion of professional wrestling. And I think that could be part of it, is that he looks like he's trying not to overstep anyone onto anyone's toes. He's like intentionally holding back for some reason.
I think it's just a comfort thing. I thought that the first angle was totally fine because it got good reactions and was a little bit more involved. But this one was less physical and more about like him grabbing the belt from Evil and doing the cutoff and looking imposing. And like Evil did a great job selling it and powdering and everything like that. But I agree with you, Jeremy. I didn't think that there was much there. Like he just grabbed the belt. He didn't know what to do. He kind of threw him. And that's, I'll be honest, what it is, it's green boy shit. He's never done this before. And to expect anybody with the amount of training that he has, who isn't just like to get, and I'll give you an example. And I know everyone does not love him, but here is the big difference. A Logan Paul, a guy that just like love him or hate him. And most people do hate him, but a guy that fucking gets wrestling and took to it like water, and not just the in-ring performance part, because that's all pretty tailored for him, but the part where he knows what he's a lifelong fan and he knows how to be a fucking heel day one. And that's partly because he is a living gimmick. Aaron Wolf's not a living gimmick. Like he's an elite athlete who is like dipping his toe in here and trying to assimilate. And I've seen a million indie wrestlers on the Florida Indies, like step into their first angle and they don't know how to project it. They don't know what to do because, it's their first time, and that's normal. It's just unfortunate for him. It's happening on one of the biggest stages possible, and every part of it's being documented and we're all going to see it. And that's not necessarily ideal for someone who is literally a green boy. That's what he is, unfortunately.
Yeah, and something, Karen pointed out of maybe he's not trying to step on anybody's toes. I mean, that is kind of what they've been playing up in the interviews. And our friend of the show, Lyric, interviewed him recently, and that's kind of his promos. I'm not supposed to be stepping in there. I'm kind of breaking the young lion rules, and so it's kind of like maybe it's he's being subdued because he's a young lion. He's not supposed to be in there, and he's not trying to show out. However, though, I still think like even just some like facial reactions and just even some body language. I'm not saying, he needs to like look like a superstar, but I think it's just some little things that he could do that would make these angles so much better, even if he's still green and doesn't really know what he's doing. I just feel like there's a lack of like intensity, lack of just kind of like aura. Like there's just something missing there. And again, like Josh said, he's green. And maybe he's not getting instructed to, fire up and show facial reactions. And maybe that's all coming January 4th and he's going to come out and it's going to be a different story. But I mean,
if he strolls out with brand new, not black tights, if he strolls out there with a proper gear set, we know where it's going.
he probably is going to go out there with proper gear. And like the last time historically they did this was with Nakamura when he debuted at the Dome. And they literally hid his custom-made gear until a few moments before the match, and they had him change into the gear out of the black trunks in Gorilla so as not to upset all of the veterans and the young lions because they didn't know he was getting this special treatment. Yeah. And then he goes out there and it still ruffles the feathers. And you have to imagine there are going to be some people. I think a lot of people probably understand what he brings from a business perspective to the company, but there's going to be a lot of jealousy. There's going to be a lot of guys who are like, look at someone like Yuto Ice and everything that he went through for so many years just to get into the dojo. And then from his time in the dojo to finally get to where he is, we're talking about like, I don't even know exactly how many years, but it's
six or 7 years, I think. Yeah.
It's more than half a decade. For everything that he sacrificed and went through. And then this guy's going to walk into the Dome and headline against Evil. There's going to be some hurt feelings there. And there's going to be some rivalries that are very real in real life that are born out of this.
Yeah. Couple of questions here. Tony Farrakhan Discord says, why did Aaron Wolf become a professional wrestler? Because he looks like he would rather be anywhere else.
I don't think it's fair. You know what I mean? Like there might be something to that. Maybe they, but it's too soon to judge based off of these few interactions and say, this is who this guy is. This is what he is. you really don't know. You know what I mean? Like nobody knows. Now, if he turns around and he's a flash in the pan and he's a guy that's not in it for the right reasons, it'll be found out. But it's just too soon, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's still time, and I mean, January 4th is going to be the big test, but yeah, and I think Tony's kind of pointing out to you some of that lack of fire, lack of facial reactions that could be there, but again, maybe that's going to come January 4th.
I don't want to say this is who he is, but a comparison just to give you an idea. People, and it's kind of apt, but people said the same thing about Sonata when he first started pro wrestling, and obviously we know that his real life personality has always bled into his persona and his demeanor and his like just countenance and everything. And there's no denying how passionate that guy is about his craft and about the sport of pro wrestling, even if he's not even if he's not Shinsuke Nakamura, let's say, you know what I mean? So it's hard to, you know, judge based off of one interaction and say like, you know, knee-jerk reaction, this is what it is. You don't know. And the reality is I'm going to go back to what I keep saying. This is green boy shit. This is the stuff that typically would be happening in front of crowds of 15 people
in the OCC Roadhouse.
Yeah, in a little roadhouse, in a gymnasium, in a VFW hall that isn't taped, that nobody sees or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's not his situation. One thing they should do, and maybe they are or aren't doing this, I don't know, and it's not their way of doing things, but it's been very effective in the West, is they should borrow a page from Shawn Michaels and from Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and when they are having this guy go out and do angles, they should be doing them in the dojo, not just, you know, running the drills and you know, working the grappling and everything like that. They should be setting private time aside for him where he's doing the angles in front of coaches.
Yeah.
So that because the reason I say this is because that's what we did in my dojo. Like Matt would literally have us do angles and skits in the mid, like besides just wrestling. And he would tell us how to fire up. And I will tell you, Matt's not listening, so it's good. He's the worst shit talker that there ever was. His line is always, "My town is better than your town." And
what are we, 5? Stop.
That's always his thing. But he would have us work angles and fire ups and segments and things like that, because that's part of understanding how to wrestle besides just knowing how to do a good tie up. And I don't think they're doing that, and they should be having them work these angles with him behind closed doors.
Yeah, totally agree. Doc says, does Aaron Wolf look lesser since losing weight?
What he means by that, just to expand, he thinks he needs to gain more mass. He needs to cultivate more mass so he can become more rotund and fall in the line of like a Hashimoto or some other bulky boys, as opposed to cutting down and becoming more slim and you know, agile and aesthetically pleasing. Different schools of thoughts.
Yeah, there's a lot of debates on whether he should go full fat or get super jacked.
I want him to be in the body he is most comfortable with.
We're body positivity here on Keepin' It Strong Style.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because you know, I'm in a difficult position, because if I'm like, yeah, I would love to see him toned down and ripped, then, you know, I don't want to be called a thirsty bitch. I'm trying to keep it clean and wholesome, because I'm a wholesome girl. But yes, if he wants to bulk up and join the Haas division, knock yourself out. If he wants to be the next lean, mean fighting machine, whatever makes him happy.
Well, you know, it's really funny. I saw some of the debate going on at one point in our Discord, and Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. What's up, Rich? He was getting into a debate with, I don't know who it was. Someone, maybe it was the Bad Fraser.
Probably.
I think it was. And, you know, Rich was like, he needs to pick one or the other. He can't be in the middle. You either need to like embrace the size and be that, like a Hashimoto and other guys that have put on, you know, weight in the past and made that their gimmick, or he needs to cut down. And I saw Fraser, I think he posted something. He's like, imagine saying that this guy isn't an elite athlete. And he posted a photo of like prime Aaron Wolf in the Olympics, like world world gold medal judo, and he was cut to shreds.
He was in the 100-kilogram category,
and Rich
which
was
is like 200 pounds.
Rich is like, he doesn't look like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that throw out Olympic photos when you say he's too fat, and it's like, that's great, but
that's not what he looks like.
Show me a picture from this year.
I will say this: he's clearly slimming down. You can see it in his face. There's one of two ways that this can go. New Japan post Tanahashi has always been an aesthetics fangirl promotion. They always attract female audiences. They always have very attractive men, and there's part of that idol culture. I mean, this is the same company that once upon a time was, known for putting out the photo books of all the half naked men and everything like that, scantily clad.
I'm not saying I have some of those.
It's very much in the vein of like Shawn Michaels when he was in Playgirl back in the day. But, so there's that aspect to it, right? But do I think that there is room in modern Japanese pro wrestling for a guy to put on bulky size and be a powerhouse? We are with guys like Sakamoto and Suwama and Shuji Ishikawa and Okabayashi and all these other guys who are aging out, who are no longer viable. There's room for someone who can do that. Here's the one thing that they have to be good at, though, and this is the secret that no one will talk about. You have to be willing to throw incredible strikes and take incredible damage to be a guy that size and make it in this industry. Yeah. And he has a judo background, and he's never struck in his professional life, and he's never struck on a wrestling level. We don't know if he has that in him, because it's not just about technique. And oftentimes guys who are shoot fighters don't throw good strikes because they're afraid of hurting the other person. Yeah. And not everybody is made to be an Ishii or a Nagata and a Sicko who can take the kind of, or a Shibata and dole out and take the kind of damage that's required of those guys. But when you're that size, if you're going to be in the main event and you're going to matter, you have to be about that life, and you have to be willing to take and throw amazing strikes. And I don't know if he can or will. That's going to be like the next thing we have to find out, because if he doesn't have that in him, he shouldn't be big. But if he wants to be big, he has to do that.
Well, he and Evil are about the same height. Evil's about 5'11" and he's 5'10" and he's 5'11". So it's just under 6 foot.
Yeah.
That's kind of the dirty secret to New Japan that a lot of people don't realize. Every single ace level figure they've ever had, regardless of the differences between them stylistically and mentality and the way they look, they're always a babyface who can take immense levels of damage and overcome the odds and come back and be a winner and get the crowd behind them. And that's what he would have to be able to do if he really is going to be pushed at the top of this company in that role, unless of course they go another route and he does become an Evil, or he becomes one of these like heel guys that is a bit player like a Togi Makabe or something.
Yeah. Well, let's jump to the next matchup here. We had the Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors, Oscar and Yuto Ice, and Shingo Takagi defeating the United Empire team of Callum Newman, Great O'Khan, Jacob Austin Young, and Templario. So this was a pretty heated matchup. We had the return of Callum Newman on this tour, being on some undercard matches, and things have been getting very heated between him and the Knockout Brothers, specifically Yuto Ice. So this one started with a hot brawl. You had guys kind of brawling out throughout the match. It teased a double count out towards the beginning of the match, and it stayed pretty heated throughout, especially between Callum and Yuto Ice, and they were getting each other's face, but towards the end here, it was the War Dog team getting the win. Oscar hitting the he also got suplex or hurricane out by Templario, but Clark hit a power slam on Callum, and Yuto Ice hit a running knee on Jacob Austin Young to get the win for the team. And then post match again, you had Yuto Ice and Callum arguing, getting into each other. They had to be separated. So it seems like they might be doing a little heel turn here with the United Empire.
This was easily the best undercard tag match of the show. And I was watching it and I was like, this one's pretty interesting because there's not an obvious pin eater, but I forgot that Jacob Austin was in the match. And I don't think he got that much ring time. And then finally, when he gets in there, he just gets beat. And I was like, oh, of course, Jacob Austin Young was in there. Never mind. But prior to that, I was like, yeah, this is one of those interesting ones where there's no obvious pin eater. Who's going to take the loss? And then I was like, oh, yeah, JAY. Forgot. Never mind.
Karen, what are your thoughts on the Knockout Brothers, Yuto Ice and Oscar, since they've been back?
I'm glad they have found a thing. It's just very, as somebody who grew up in South Florida and very not dialed into the reggae culture, underground culture that may or may not be in Japan. Hearing somebody use a finishing move called the Bumbaclot knee is just very weird to me.
I fucking love it.
It throws me for a loop every time because I'm like, I grew up hearing it from, you know, the very diverse neighborhood that I lived by, and I was like, I don't know if that's how you use that word. I mean, if he's culturally appreciating the reggae lifestyle, sure, as long as he's not culturally appropriating the reggae lifestyle, but I'm not so sure.
Yo, what if he like goes even like more full bore, like he starts doing like V triggers, but instead of like doing the like bang, he's like boop boop boop. I need him to like get a move where he lifts someone above his head and he's like, man's not hot, and then just fucking
wow. Oh man. We did have a question here, I guess more of a statement from Reddit user Make Way for Slide. Motion to change Keeping It Strong Style sign off from Ichiban to Let's Get High. Big up. Thoughts?
Maybe.
Don't look at me. I don't work here.
But yeah, I thought this match was very interesting. I'm glad they're trying to do something with United Empire. Also, it's been kind of a rough year for them with also Ospreay fully being gone, Cobb gone, TJP.
Aussie Open.
Yeah, losing Aussie Open. So they've kind of just been on this weird Hanare. Yeah, no Gideon Gray. Hanare has been injured.
Francesco Care is injured.
Yeah. So yeah, they've just been a rough year for them, but it does seem like they are kind of doing some kind of character change, heel turn. Cal Newman's being more aggressive, leaning more heelish, and so maybe something is actually going to come of this unit. Interesting to see what's going to happen, and also he wants to go after the Knockout Brothers, so I'm guessing maybe him and Okan will be the team for World Tag League this year, and maybe we'll get a matchup with them and the Knockout Brothers. And then after that, we go into the Super Junior Tag League Finals. So last week, when I was solo, I went through the first 4 nights. So just going to run through the results of the nights that happened leading up to the finals and how we got here. So night 5, we had Funky Carrot defeating United Empire to get up to 4 points, leaving United Empire 2 points. Then we had Doki and Sho, who were at 8 points. They defeated Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai. Then the main event that night was Wato and Yo defeating Gato and Hiromu. So that put Wato and Yo up to 8 points, tied up with Doki and Sho. And so those were pretty much the 2 top teams that were still alive in A block. Then we go to night 6 B block action. We had Kushida and Yoshioka. They defeated the House of Torture team of Dick Togo and Kanemaru, getting up to 6 points. Then we had Ichiban Sweet Boys defeating Tiger Mask and Yamato to get up to 8 points. And then the main event, we had Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori defeating Desperado and Kukai to get to 6 points. Then night 7 was the A block final night. We had United Empire defeating Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai. So Connors and Nagai go 0 points here. They don't pick up a win on the board. And United Empire ends with 4 points. Then we had Funky Carrot defeating Gato and Hiromu. So Funky Carrot ends with 6. Hiromu and Gato end with 2 points. And then the main event was the A block final match. The 2 undefeated teams went in there. The main event, we had Doki and Sho ended up defeating Wato and Yo. So House of Torture As junior tag champions, they win the A block undefeated 5-0 with 10 points, leaving Wato and Yo 4-1 with 8 points. And then night 8 was the B block final night. We had Tiger Mask and Yamato defeating Togo and Kanemaru to get to 2 points. Then we had Desperado and Kukai defeating Kushida and Yoshioka to get up to 4 points. And then the main event, the B block final, we had Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori defeating the Ichiban Sweet Boys to get to 8 points. And since they were both at 8 and Robbie X and Ishimori won, they had the tiebreaker over Sweet Boys. And so that put Robbie X and Ishimori into the finals. So that brings us to our final match that happened here at the Final Homecoming, which was the junior tag champions, House of Torture, Doki and Sho, defeating the War Dogs of Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori to capture the 2025 Super Junior Tag League trophies. Karen, what were your thoughts on all this?
What was the point of that entire tournament? Tell me. Like, I mean, there were literally other options to set up the dome match, because usually the purpose of Super Junior Tag League is to pick the guys that are going to be the guys that are going to show up at the dome to go for the championship. And now I just feel like they're just going to have another junior tag 4-way for the hell of it. And it just, again, it makes me feel like there was no thought put into this tournament, especially when you have Doki 2 belts and you've got, now it's Doki 2 belts plus the trophy. And I'm like, well, what's everybody else doing? I was very frustrated by this outcome. I feel like we could have had Robbie X, like the B block final between Bullet Club War Dogs and the Ichiban Sweet Boys. That should have been the tournament final. It should not have been a block final.
Yeah, the House of Tor, or the Bullet Club War Dogs versus Robbie X match, or versus Ichiban Sweet Boys match, that was fucking awesome. Just really, really great. Everything that you want to see from junior tag team wrestling in the modern age. So want to throw that out there. I'm not convinced that we're getting a junior tag team title match at Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know exactly. I am a little bit on the let's see how it plays out, because people are so ready to bury everything that happened here. And I think there is a good reason for that. It does very much feel like this was superfluous for them to have even done the tournament only for the champions, who nobody really believes in them as the champions
Yes.
to really carry the belt. So it does seem like, why did we do this? But we still have that big question of what is going to be the junior match going into the dome. I know that there was a post-match angle with Kosei Fujita and the winners of the tournament, the House of Torture, junior tag team champions. I almost feel like there's a good chance, and maybe this isn't a good thing, but there's a chance that we might, because they've had this this pattern all year long, and it's mainly Desperado's fault, where they've been focusing on the juniors on the big Cork and Road 2s before the big events, and they've kind of relegated the junior title and sometimes the junior tag team titles to those events. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if we wind up with a junior tag team title match of some sort as a preview to whatever the actual junior title match is going to be on 1-4. So they do maybe something like Sweet Boys versus House of Torture on the road to Tokyo Dome, as bad as that sounds. They also there's always the possibility that they set something up for the finals of World Tag League, because that is a show where they could still do something with the juniors. I don't know exactly where it's headed. If it is something where it's like, this is just pointless, it was just a time filler and a big fuck you to the fans, and there were a million other, and this is how a lot of people are feeling, that there was a million other more interesting things that they could have done coming out of this that would have revitalized the division, and they may be proven right when it's all said and done, then that's bad. But I do kind of have this optimistic hope that there is something interesting that is going to come out of this, whether that means like long-term establishing this House of Torture tag team. As much as I don't love their work, they're far from the worst thing in House of Torture. Their matches are far from worse, far worse than or better than what you typically see from most of that group. And I am wondering if this is going to play into something bigger for Doki's title defense at the Dome. And I'm hoping something positive comes out of it, but knowing 2025 Goto and 2025 booking committee, it's hard to put any real faith or trust in them that they're going to do anything that you are excited about.
Yeah. And obviously they built the team super strong here, but they beat every team in the block, in their block, and won the finals. So it's like, there's no really potential challengers on the horizon because they've kind of been just beating everybody. So I think that really leans into what you're saying, Josh, of we're probably just going to get a Road to defense, and it's going to be Doki versus whoever at the Tokyo Dome, since they're not really building up any credible challengers unless they bring some other like outside team in to face them.
I mean, I hear that you guys are going to Japan in January.
We will be.
New Year's Dash, baby. My money's on you guys.
I don't know if I hit that junior weight limit though.
Was Shingo a junior? Honestly,
I mean the junior weight limit's like 220. That's doable. We're gonna be we're staying in one of those like traditional for the first 2 nights we're staying in one of those traditional.
Ryokan, traditional Japanese inn.
Yeah, bro. We'll sit naked together in the Japanese heat bath and sweat all of the fat out. We'll make weight.
You'll be walking everywhere. The food portion sizes are a third of what they are here.
Don't tell me that.
They are.
But there was an interesting thing in the post match where Fujita got up in Doki's face and something like that, and I didn't catch the exact perfect translation, but Doki said like, what do you have to offer? Which made me feel like, is there going to be some other bigger stakes involved with a potential Sweet Boys versus House of Torture match? Maybe something like a career or we'll never team together type of situation sort of thing.
Or loser goes to the other faction.
I thought about that too. That's another thing.
That's a very stardom approach to things that happens a lot over there. So
we can do a hair match.
Yeah.
Doki has some nice hair though.
Might be time to go.
I would have a sad. It would be Uemura losing his hair all over again. I don't know if I can handle that.
Yes, I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, but this is for many people the most disheartening potential outcome for the tournament. We do always say that they need to do fresh and exciting things that no one expects, but this is not exactly Roppongi 3K winning, the Super Junior Tag League the first year that they were tag champions. It's not quite that. Like this is something different. It's sort of like this is where you guys wanted to take the chances. Not in the G1, but here in the Super Junior Tag. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever you think.
And we had Doki getting the win here. He sprays the red mist into Ishimori's eyes, hits a low blow, and does a roll up with a handful of tights to get the win, which is kind of how they've won.
Been beating everybody.
Yeah, it's just the low blow roll ups kind of been the main combo for them for the whole tour. So they get the win, they get the trophies, they celebrate, and yeah. Big win, I guess, for Doki and Sho. We got some questions here. And Kangaroo in the Discord says, has there ever been a tournament as pointless that achieved as little and that dragged its balls across the face of the fans as much as Super Junior Tag League 2025?
Pardon me? Goodness. I mean, I'm frustrated. I don't know if I'm that frustrated. Damn.
There's no denying the one thing that is true. Even if there is some positive story element that comes out of this, like I'm hoping there is, this really didn't do favors for anybody.
Correct.
Like nobody got, maybe you could point to Ishimori and Robbie X having a very good tournament and kind of getting established. Maybe for Robbie X, a guy who is probably on the chopping block as far as like foreign talent go, because they already, canceled so many other outside foreigners from this tour in general. I think him making a really good showing for himself and kind of getting over with the crowd is a good thing. I don't know if that will. We've seen a lot of guys get over with the Japanese crowds. Like, when's the last time you saw like Alex Zane around? Like, you know what I mean? So it might not mean anything, but that is a good thing. But there's very, very little that like actually developed to where you're like, I'm going to buy into this. I mean, the biggest story of the tournament seemed to be, can LIJ and War Dogs coexist? And that was kind of just goofy.
And the answer was no. Yeah. So yeah, not the best tournament, and not the best matches. It's all around like this was just kind of a skip tournament this year.
I want to call it right now, by the way. LIJ and War Dogs are not going to go into I know a lot of people are expecting some sort of like Wrestle Kingdom match between them. They'll explode and then Wrestle Kingdom will happen and they'll have a multi-man match. That's not what's going to happen. This partnership is going to last until New Year's Dash. And at New Year's Dash, it's going to blow up. And if in that event, Tsuji is the world champion, we'll probably be getting either Finlay or Gabe Kidd going after that title in February. That's my prediction early. I'm calling it right now in November, just letting everybody know. It'll probably be Finlay. Finlay will probably be his first title defense in February.
Interesting.
Unless Jake Lee comes back.
Oh boy.
That's another ship that I've resigned to possibly have sailing and not coming, never to be seen again.
We had a question from Doc. He says Yuki Yoshioka is the only guy who does the high fly flow as good as Tanahashi. Who else from Dragon Gate would you guys like to see with Yuki, Daya, Yamato in the Best Super Juniors and Shun vs. Evil coming? I believe like Monte or Kikuta doing some heavyweight things would be cool.
Who's they? I never heard of her.
I don't follow the Dragon Gate that closely, so
I am not one of the Dragon Gate girlies, so I could not weigh in on the roster compliment that would go well with people in New Japan.
Buddy, we don't open the gate. You know what I mean? Like my era of like Dragon Gate involves Ricochet, the Young Bucks, you know,
Shingo,
BB Hulk, Shingo, Yamato. It's a far cry from what it is today. And actually, I'm sure it's good. People like it, but maybe who are the guys over at Voices of Wrestling who are like real big? K-Slow.
Yeah, open the voice gate.
Go listen to them. I'm sure that they've got great insight.
Lock down the Dragon Gate.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy everybody who was in this tournament. And I mean, I've always enjoyed Dragon Daya, even though they kind of treat him like a mid-card geek in New Japan. I think he's great. And yeah, Yamato.
If Kiyomiya can't get a push, there's no way they're giving a push to Dragon Daya.
Right. But a lot of these guys are really cool. And I would welcome any of these guys into a Super Junior field. Next question here from Few Shoulder 2780. Who do you think should have won Super Junior Tag League?
Literally anyone else. I could have won Super Junior Tag League at that rate.
I do think that people would have been more excited even with one of the like mishmashed tag teams. Like that would have been exciting for people. So pretty much basically anybody.
I mean, Desperado and Kukai seem to have been really popular. You know, the work that people have said that Kushida did with Yuki Yoshioka I've heard very positive things about that. It's just, I don't know. It just kind of like it took what little gentle breeze was pushing against the sails of the Super Junior tournament, just sucked that last bit out. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have been cool to have Ichiban and Sweet Boys, do a repeat win. Clearly they're trying to push Robbie X and Ishimori. I would have gone with that team as well. Yeah, those are probably my top two picks on who should have won.
Team Watto, baby.
I mean, they're unfortunately laden with the never six man right now. So it's like I harbored no hope for them to even come close to doing well in this tournament.
I guess we did just kind of gloss over the fact that during that never six man or the never angle, Evil also did name himself and Dick Togo, and who else did he list?
I think Yujiro.
Was it Kanemaru or
maybe? Yeah, maybe
Yujiro.
Maybe it was Kanemaru. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it was Kanemaru. Him, Kanemaru, and Dick Togo are the next challengers for the Never Six-Man tag teams, and he plans to win that belt, so he'll be the ultimate Never champion.
He's the never. He's the double negative champion.
Double never.
Never ever champion.
Well, now we jump into the semi-main event of the show for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Title. The champion, the Gene Blast, Yota Tsuji, retains and defeats the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, in his hometown in 20 minutes and 5 seconds. Karen, what are your thoughts on this match?
All right. So was it the best match they've had together? Maybe not. But was it the most emotionally charged one of the three? Absolutely. I think this match was exactly what it needed to be, and it was everything I wanted it to be. It was the nice end cap on Tsuji's entire journey in New Japan, from the time he ran into Tanahashi outside the train station and basically changed the entire trajectory of his life. And now he's one of the top athletes in one of the top organizations in the entire world. Part of me is kind of hoping, that since Tanahashi kind of gave his high fly float to Uemura, I am hoping that after his last match, he gives Tsuji his Texas Clover hold as his, trying to separate the wealth as opposed to copy and pasting everything he is onto one particular wrestler like they did with Kiyomiya over Noah. But did I get misty-eyed? Yes. Did I have a little bit of a cry? Yes, I did. Not because of Tanahashi leaving, but because Tsuji's story and his own personal goal for his journey in New Japan had some significant payoff.
I do want to say this. Generally speaking, I'm a traditionalist, and I am usually always in favor of the world title going on last on any show. And there were a lot of shows this year where the world title didn't go on last and people were pretty upset about it. But for this particular show, and we kind of found out on this evening that they're going to do the same thing in the Tokyo Dome. Tanahashi's, memorial homecoming in Gifu didn't go on last. And he didn't win it either. Well, I'm fine with him not winning, but it should have gone on last. They sold out the building. This is the biggest crowd that they've done since the 90s in this building, and it was all completely sold out on the back of Hiroshi Tanahashi's homecoming. Yeah. One thing that a lot of people probably don't know is in 2009, Tanahashi actually had his 10-year anniversary planned for Gifu, and in the which that's in November, just like this was. Or maybe it's not November. Yeah, it's November. But he got blasted by Shinsuke Nakamura and broke his orbital bone in the G1 that year and had to forfeit the title. And they called that show Tanahashi's Homecoming, and he was the only person on the posters and everything, and he didn't get to compete in the fucking event. And all he could do is just come out and wave at everybody, and it was really disheartening that he didn't get to compete on his 10-year anniversary in his hometown. The biggest match he ever had in this town in his whole career was when he defended the U30 in 06 against Yoshitatsu, who's also from Gifu. He never really had a true marquee match in Gifu in front of a big crowd like this. It was easily the biggest match of his career in front of his hometown. And yeah, they gave him a lot of pomp and circumstance, and it was great, but I really thought it should have gone on last personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crowd was definitely there for Tanahashi. The crowd reaction to this match, poor Tsuji. This crowd was, 100% pro Tanahashi and was kind of living and breathing with everything Tanahashi was doing. I think it would have been a good touch to main event with that. However, I would have main evented and done a angle that led to Tanahashi's opponent at the Dome, and they did not do the angle for that here. And maybe that's part of the reason why they didn't main event it, because obviously the world title match led to the angle of what's going to be hypothetically the main event at Wrestle Kingdom, and kind of gave you some kind of angle, and we didn't get the Tokyo Dome opponent. So from that standpoint, I can kind of get it. But overall, I do think the show being called, Hiroshi Tanahashi Final Homecoming, it probably should have been.
Probably should have headlined his own show.
Yeah. I mean, if he closed out the show, he would have went around the ring to say goodbye to everyone. He would have been there an extra 4 hours just saying goodbye to every single person in that building.
That's fine.
That's what it should be. But as far as the match itself goes, I did think it was the best match between these two. I did enjoy their match in the G1. I thought this was better, but I will say this. Up until like the last couple closing sequences, I thought it was highly average. I thought it was good, but it's very clear in these last few months that this very, very ambitious schedule that Tanahashi has been inclined to keep is taking its toll on him. And I know we've always talked about like his decline, but his decline from January of this year to November of this year is so stark. Like this guy was struggling in this match. Like even the grappling portions, I was like, oh fuck, this is really bad. But with that being said, it was like a 3-star match with like a 4.5-star closing segment. The stuff down the stretch was so good that it really elevated the match to where I was like, man, and I never thought Tanahashi was winning. I never bought into that. They never got me, but they did some really, really, really cool stuff down the stretch with them stealing each other's finishers and, you know, all of the high fly flows. And it looked like Tanahashi might've like pulled the upset and, you know, obviously Tsuji overcomes the odds. He finally beats his, you know, the man who brought him into the sport, the man that he was the attendant for and his like biggest influence. And I thought that the post match was very meaningful where he's like, New Japan's going to be fine. Leave it to me. I've got it. And it's like, there are other people who've tried to do things like, you know, Umino has tried to say, I'm the new ace of the generation and everything. But
sorry. That was a little louder and deeper than I wanted it to be.
The only person from this Reiwa generation, other than like Gabe Kidd at a point in time where you're starting to feel like, okay, maybe he could be one of the guys, but that ship seems like it's kind of sailed. Right now, when you hear Tsuji talk about it, he's got the conviction and he's got the belief. I don't know if everyone believes in him yet, but it reminds me of, you listen to Tanahashi in like 04, 05, 06, and he's talking about how he's the future of the company. He's going to carry everything. He's going to correct the ship. And everyone's like, who the fuck is this kid? He's not even like top of his class. Like, this is so ballsy. And he ended up being that guy. And Tsuji's kind of been the one saying the very same similar things all these years and starting to come to fruition.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match, especially that closing stretch was awesome with, Tsuji goes for a high fly flow, misses. Tanahashi does the Gene Blaster, which I don't think I've ever seen Tanahashi do a spear ever.
I don't ever want him to see him do a spear ever again.
I thought Tsuji did a great job selling for him, got up for the Gene Blaster there. And then, like you mentioned, Josh, Tanahashi hitting the high fly flow to the back. And then Tsuji gets up and was going to try and Gene Blast him midair, but Tanahashi was able to do the crossbody attack first and then goes for another one. But Tsuji got the knees up and then he hit the Gene Blaster. And yeah, there's a lot of really great near falls back and forth. And Tanahashi once again going for the high fly flow and Tsuji getting the knees up and hitting the final Gene Blast to get the win. Yeah, that closing stretch was really hot. A lot of great reversals. And like you said, it really elevated the match where afterwards I'm like, damn, maybe I am going like 4.5 on this.
I'm not going to go that high, but I'm pretty high on it. I really loved the finish. Tanahashi has had better matches this year for sure. But the only other match that has captured the same level of emotion down the stretch is like the Takeshita match in Chicago that we were there for live. A lot of other stuff has been better, but nothing has tapped into that emotional connection the way that this one did. The only thing that it needed that it didn't have, I'm not a big melodrama guy, but I would have just loved for Tanahashi to defiantly like stand up and Takeshita say, I'm sorry, I love you. And then bam, just Gene Blast this motherfucker and get him out of there. Like, we needed that. We needed the Tanahashi crying moment where he's like, come on, do it.
Finish me, kid. So that was a really awesome match towards the end there. And then you mentioned post match, you had the whole thing with Tsuji and Tanahashi and allowing Tanahashi to do a closing speech. And then I was waiting for he was a Wrestle Kingdom opponent, a video package, but out came Mr. Yuto Ice. Bomboclat wants to get high, comes out, and we allude to this. Yuto Ice also from Gifu, went to the same high school as Tanahashi, and
junior high school.
Junior high school, yeah.
I made that mistake myself.
And once he heard that he was not the toughest guy from his junior high school, it was Tanahashi. He's like, "Who's this guy? I want to beat him up." And so that is all rolled out, and all throughout the Tag League tour, he's been saying, "No, I want to face Tanahashi." So came out here and challenged Tanahashi for a singles match. There is a New Japan Roadshow coming up this Saturday, November 8th. So that has been made official. Yuto Ice versus Tanahashi.
Yeah, I love the idea of this because they've alluded ever since he returned from excursion about that story, that the motivation for him to become a pro wrestler was, whether it's true or not, the idea that he found out about this badass IWGP champion from his junior high, and he needs to fight that man. And you kind of knew that like it had to happen, but what is the actual timing of it all going to work out to? And so finally we're getting like probably one last, who knows? Tanahashi will probably wrestle a bunch more, but like seemingly one last major singles match leading into the Tokyo Dome for him. And it's happening in a week. They just added like a show, I guess. So that's kind of crazy. So yeah, looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure Tanahashi's going to beat Yuto Ice. So
yeah. Then the post-match comments, we had Goto rolling up on Tanahashi, asking if his final opponent's been chosen yet, and he said, no, not yet. And Goto says, I can make a call to somebody, just let me know. And that leads to a question from Emily. You ready and excited to hear that coin drop at the Dome?
No.
I mean, if I had to be okay with Tanahashi possibly getting his second choice or third choice, sure. It is interesting that the show that they are having on Saturday is in Anjo, which is technically Kazuchika Okada's backyard, i.e. where he is from. So if that is going to, let me just say this, if that's going to be the play, I'm wanting Kazuchika Okada to come strolling out of the curtain after going home and visiting his mom for the first time in a very long time. I don't want a video package. This can't be video package if that's going to be the move.
Yeah, I'm not really excited about the potential of Okada Tanahashi. We've alluded to this on the show a couple weeks ago when we were kind of speculating on who the opponent could be. They've done the final Okada Tanahashi match like 3 times now. We had the Dallas match, we had the California match, they had another match in Japan. Like there's been multiple, like it's like the Rock Cena thing, like once in a lifetime. Well, they ended up doing like a bunch more times when they said it was going to be like the final time they've done it. And I get it, like it's a legendary rivalry, the rivalry that really launched New Japan to the golden era. And it's one of Tanahashi's, most legendary opponents, yada, yada, yada. But we've been there, done that. There's been closure on that rivalry.
Yeah. It's the... I know that the Japanese fans would be very excited to see Okada come back at the Dome. But there have been there was an opportunity this year for Okada to come back at the Dome, and he didn't. And there were 2 nights at the Dome. There's been opportunities for Jay White to come back for several years now, and he has not come back. My biggest thing is that this is this man's retirement match. He should be allowed to wrestle who he wants to wrestle.
Well, I mean, it's no secret. The talk has been out there. We've seen reports from Sean Ross Sapp. We've seen reports from Dave Meltzer. And I don't think it's any coincidence that there were the teases taking place on the recent WWE in Japan shows, as well as Tanahashi's reaction to them on social media. We know now, we might not know all the details, but we know that there was certainly internal talks about the idea of Shinsuke Nakamura being Tanahashi's opponent. We know that there was the teases between these two guys.
Also, Tanahashi did the landslide, Nakamura's landslide in this Tsuji match.
Yeah, he's had some callbacks to kind of allude to it. And according to reports from Dave Meltzer, this is something that was discussed, internally within New Japan Pro Wrestling. The following day, Sean Ross Sapp comes out and says that this is pretty much a, how did he put it? He said it's like, he basically said it's a long shot. Like it's probably not going to happen, according to sources that he has. Now, I can't speak for Sean Ross Sapp, but I am going to just say, we talk to people in the Japanese wrestling space. We know people that are in the Japanese wrestling space. I genuinely do not believe that Sean Ross Sapp is connected in the Japanese wrestling space, just based on what we know. If my understanding is that he found that information out, you can connect the dots. Who do you think he's probably talking to about whether that match would move forward or not? You listen to Dave Meltzer, and Dave Meltzer says that even though it's been discussed, that the political side of it is very difficult to navigate, considering the connection to AEW and the partnership, and obviously Takeshita is on the show. I don't know anything, but I have to imagine that if there were these teases about Nakamura, and then suddenly there's a tease out of nowhere, out of the blue, there's been nothing to lead to it, that it might be Okada. And obviously, like Goto meeting him backstage and saying, I might be able to make something happen. That kind of tells you that that's the way it's probably going. My spidey senses say politics are at play here. I don't know anything, but it just doesn't fucking add up.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say about it is there are better options, in my opinion, right now for a final match than Okada. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you, Karen. I think that Okada showing up in the Tokyo Dome, making his return to Japan on the big stage, it would be a big deal. And
I don't want it at all. I want Nakamura.
No, I'm just saying for the domestic audience, it's a big deal. It will matter. And I think that there is, for some people, they'll be like, yeah, this is the defining, feud of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah. But I agree with you, Jeremy. We've seen the send-off. I counted 4 times. 2 G1s where they said it was the final one, then the final IWGP title in California, and then the final singles match where Okada got sent off to the US. We don't need a 5th final match between these guys. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, if you can't get Nakamura, which means you can't get anybody from WWE, so then you kind of have to throw out any other preposterous, dream match like a Rock or Cena or
AJ Styles,
AJ
Styles,
Balor,
Prince Devitt, whatever big name you want to list. If you're not getting Nakamura, that stuff's all off the table. So at that point, that kind of just leaves you with what are the other alternatives that would exist that could appease New Japan and possibly AEW. In my opinion, those names would basically be Kenny Omega, Tetsuya Naito. Who were the other names that I was thinking of?
Hirooki Goto.
if you were they did their final match. Obviously, if he was allowed to compete in a New Japan ring, and he won't be, Shibata.
Danielson.
And Danielson was the other one that and you stole my
Well, I was trying to help remind you.
So, Hangman would be a nice shout, because I know that Tana always had a soft spot for Hangman, and not that they had any kind of rivalry or anything, but
he does. I just don't think he's a big enough name in Japan to matter for this moment, realistically. But Danielson is the one guy that he's always wanted to wrestle again. They only had the one match. It never came to fruition. And he's headlined a Dome already. That could be something really special. That's someone that I hadn't thought of. And I'm like, that would be fucking awesome. Here's another last one. Miyahara. His counterpart in All Japan, who he's never faced in a singles match, who is the only major name outside of New Japan domestically that matters, that could actually get people excited. But if I had to go with any of those names, I think Kenny Omega makes the most sense. Kenny is, he's not what he was physically, but he always shows up at the Dome and gives people their best performance. This is a situation that reminds me very much of Ric Flair's final match. Like Ric Flair, his final match was, I want to wrestle the guy who is the best in the world today, which he claimed was Shawn. And Shawn, as we know, that was 2008. He retires just 2 years later. He's on his last leg too, but he's still good enough on the big match to give Flair the match that he needs. But Flair and Shawn didn't have this extensive years-long feud and all this history. It was more about like, we've had some matches together, but you're the best, and I want to go out facing the best. And we know that these two guys already had their 2 matches. They need the rubber match. Kenny's going to would be looking for revenge from the time he took the loss in the Dome before he was exodus from the company. And Kenny would be, of all those names, the bigger draw in Japan on that stage, because he has always moved business, not just domestically, but internationally. If you want to get more eyes on the product and have a big match, I do genuinely believe that the Omega versus Tanahashi match would be bigger worldwide than Okada Tanahashi, only because Okada Tanahashi has happened so many times to diminishing returns for so many years. So if they were going to do an AEW guy, that's who it should be. And I just can't believe it's going to be Okada again. And I can't believe it's not going to be Nakamura at this point.
Yeah, I feel like they're treading a fine line here with some of their teases. Even before Gato walked up, Tanahashi was like, yeah, I'm thinking about an old foe or something like that. And so they're still kind of teasing Nakamura. But yeah, now you have the whole like Gato reference, and yeah, this New Japan Roadshow is in Okada's hometown. So yeah, things are kind of pointing in that more Okada direction while still trying to tease the Nakamura stuff. And I think that's a really bad way to go.
Like the sentimental fangirl in me is like, I don't want to accept any alternatives to what I want until the match card drops. I'm just like, no, I can still hold out on hope as long as like I'm gonna hold on to that thread as long as I can. Because I don't want to watch the Dome show and be angry at the match that we are given. Not that it'll be a bad match, but like I don't want like the week after the Dome and Meltzer goes on like, well, this is what it was going to be, but XYZ are the reasons. Because then I'll be like, all right, well, I need to know shoe sizes because I need to Amazon Prime some clown shoes to people because I'm not. I want a satisfying end to this man's long career, and if it's going to just be his second or third or fourth choice, it's just he's the president of the company and it's his retirement match. It's bigger than the companies that are involved.
When you're connecting dots and you see the way that Nakamura was treated in Japan, now maybe you could just chalk it up to say like he's so well respected for his career and it was maybe the last time he'll be in Japan and everyone was recognizing that because he probably doesn't have many years left and they don't, it's been a few years since WWE's been to Japan. Maybe that is the reason why everyone was giving him these big emotional Instagram and Twitter posts.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, when you combine him teasing very blatantly the Tanahashi stuff and Tanahashi teasing it back and the way everyone was acting that weekend, I just have to assume there's smoke to that fire. And then when things suddenly shift, something happened. It doesn't make fucking sense. And I really don't think that Nakamura is a company guy. There's no way that he would be making oversions or teases about anything related to Tanahashi
without
a
getting
WWE
cleared.
show that was going to get out if it wasn't known or wasn't cleared on some level.
Correct.
So do with that what you will, but this is a dirty business. It's pro wrestling, and there's two companies here that have ulterior motives, and there's two options here. You know what I mean? And New Japan is teasing both of them at the same time. Last thing I'll say here, the idea that Gato has any pull in kayfabe to reach out to Kazuchika Okada makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
The only thing about it was when I thought maybe he's breaking character and basically admitting I'm the booker.
Yeah.
But then I realized he wasn't. He was, because I got spoiled on this. So I was already kind of disappointed when I woke up in the morning and I saw the post, because I was like, they didn't announce the guy, and and Goto did this thing. And I was hoping that it was Goto as a booker coming to Tanahashi and basically breaking the kayfabe. But then I saw it and it was like, no, he's in full fucking character as House of Torture. And he's saying he can pull some strings. And I'm like, he's talking about Okada. That makes no sense whatsoever. Like, this is the company that their kayfabe used to be the broader wrestling world's kayfabe, and they would follow the stories from Rev Pro and CMLL and even WWE's continuity and everything. And now we're just willy-nilly. This guy used to walk out with him many, many years ago. We're just going to forget the fact that they had this huge falling out. And
Goto gave him the worst chair shot in history.
the gentlest chair massage ever.
Yeah. Unless he was trying to tease Jay White. And you know what the funny thing is? I don't think that other people because I've seen basically nothing but positive reactions to the idea of Okada. And I think what most people are feeling like is there's no way it could have been Nakamura. So it's a nice little tease, but if it wasn't going to be him, at least it's Okada. And and a lot of people are like, I'm going to be in the dome for an Okada Tanahashi match. So I'm excited. But me, being the conspiracy-minded individual that I am, and looking at the broader wrestling world and connecting these dots, I'm like, there's no way that these teases and that everything that was on the table a week or two ago was happening if it wasn't actually happening, especially with the Meltzer and the Sean Ross Sapp reports.
See, my thing was that when Nakamura cut that promo at the Budokan a couple of weeks ago, that was put on the WWE Japan Instagram with very accurate subtitles to it. And they would not have done that if certain ducks were not in a row for that to happen.
And I don't think people are thinking about it that way. They're not connecting these dots and thinking analytically in the bigger picture in the context. They're just thinking this was never going to happen. And I'm like, it was clearly going to happen and something has changed. And I am upset because the only person that makes sense, the only real person that makes sense for the final send-off of Tanahashi's career is his greatest rival of his entire existence, which is Nakamura. They haven't wrestled since 2015. That's the send-off match. Yeah. And they're not going to do it. Probably at this point, unless something I don't know.
It could change again, yeah.
not now. Not that now that they've done that Goto tease, it's gonna be Okada. And if it's unless there's something we don't know, it's gonna be Okada.
I mean, I guess Nakamura was in chaos too. I mean, I guess there could be a chaos connection tease.
Takahashi was also in chaos. So or Yano was in chaos.
Masato Tanaka was in chaos.
I mean,
everybody was in chaos at one point.
Rocky Romero was in chaos.
Mark Briscoe.
Alex Kozlov was in chaos. But yeah, I mean, I guess you're right, Jeremy. Nakamura and Goto probably don't have any beef. He didn't turn on Nak.
Right, yeah.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. And I was so excited a week or two ago just at the very prospect of these teases. Yeah. And it's like, it's happening. It's happening. I can't believe it. And now it's not happening. And I'm like, ew, this is gross.
Yeah. That's the vibe right there. I'm just like, this is why we can't have nice things. There are so few opportunities for very wonderful things, and this is one of them. And I just want to know who's being the spoiled sport, who's ruining the fun for everybody else. I want to know who the dirtbag is.
And you know what? It could be any combination of things. Could it be
dirtbags are?
Could it be like WWE doing some WWE shit? Very possible. You know what I mean? We don't really know. Could it be a Tony Khan initiative? Because, who knows? We don't really know.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
Something at the same time.
Something changed here, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two quick questions here. Def Triangle 720 says, do you think they made a mistake having all the young guys beat Tana before the Dome? I still think one of the young guys could have had a spot and elevate them into the new year.
No,
that's stupid. Sorry to say it that way. Retirement matches aren't about elevating new stars. Correct. They're about sending off old stars in meaningful ways that are a celebration of their career.
Yeah, agreed. With them teasing a potential Rainmaker return, do you think the company really couldn't bring back Naito for the final match?
Naito would move tickets.
He would. Honestly, I think a lot more people would be into a Naito return than an Okada turn at this point.
I don't think it would matter as much
because of the weird way that Naito and Bushi just kind of vanished at one point.
Yeah,
I agree. I think internationally, it won't matter as much. Like to the Bullet Club fan, the world watchers from like 4 or 5 years ago who are probably AEW fans and stuff. They won't care.
Yeah.
But domestically, it will be a bigger deal because Naito is historically a bigger draw, and he left, and they'll both be big deals. Okada or Naito coming back would be big deals, but Naito coming back in that spot, there's a reason why he was the opponent for Muto and Muto's final match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't think there's any Goto Naito connection for that tease either.
He just needs to swing by Bushi's chicken shop and have Bushi ring up Naito on the phone. Naito will drive by. It's fine.
Yeah.
I can also tell you this right now. If Muto wasn't retired, he would be lobbying to be the guy. He probably
of course he would be.
I think I've seen him tweet something about trying to.
He's probably trying anyway.
Yeah.
Let me see what the over under on this is.
Yeah.
I mean, that match is that is the most important match of Tanahashi's career. So.
How long ago was that match?
09.
Exactly.
All right.
I like to see Muto eat another high fly flow, go to hell. It's always a good time.
Well, let's jump into the main event, IWGP World Heavyweight Title match. The Alpha Konosuke Takeshita defeats Hirooki Goto 24 minutes and 20 seconds. Karen, your thoughts?
I loved it. It was a good time. I just don't understand what the end game of ping-ponging the championship from Goto to Zack to Takeshita to... I just don't know. I have a difficult time trying to understand what the buildup for the dome for this belt has been the last 3 months. And I loved the match. I didn't harbor as much as I wanted Goto to win. I didn't think he was going to.
Right.
But it just feels like usually by this point in time, I feel like the dome path is a little more stable and we know where everything's flowing. And this is kind of feels like we're just like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks with less than 2 months to the dome. And it makes me a little uneasy. But I mean, I know why they did it, to give him at least one title to pad his career before Tsuji takes the belt from him, hopefully one day. But I don't know.
If he does. Yeah. I gotta say this right now. It's going to be some real nasty work if we go into the Tokyo Dome and the final 2 matches of the evening are Konosuke Takeshita retaining the IWGP World Heavyweight Title over Tsuji, and then Kazuchika Okada retiring Tanahashi.
I didn't want to be the one to say it because I always get the heat from the AEW fans. Like, you're such a hater. And I'm like, but do you understand what's happening right now?
I don't think I'll be able to deal with what will happen if that occurs. The kind of heat that we'll be getting from James Boyd and Rich Latta, and just the amount of clowning that will take place on us and our lives. I don't think I can really deal with that. Like, that's going to suck so far.
Yeah.
You didn't book the matches. That's not you.
Oh, man.
Unless you guys are secret millionaires that I don't know about, and then we need to have a talk.
We might need to pack it in if that shit happens.
Right.
But,
shut it down.
I will say the match was really fantastic.
Yeah.
It was an awesome match. The ending kind of just sucked. It came out of kind of nowhere, and they weren't building to the sudden impact finish that it ended up being. Like, all the work was fantastic. And then Takeshita just hit him with a knee, and hit him with the Raging Fire and got the 1-2-3. And it is a strong finish. Like, it's very emphatic. He beat Goto, and he did go through some of Goto's biggest moves, like the Shouten Kai, and he did the Code Red off the top, and he hit the GTR, the GCW, all that shit. And that was really cool. But I don't know, man. Like, Goto really got eaten up in the first half of the match.
Yeah.
And then when he was coming back, they were back and forth for a long time. And then finally down the stretch, Goto seemed like he was overcoming the odds. And then he just got stopped. And it's not bad. Sometimes you want stories like that. But the way that the match was being worked, it felt like we were on the road to, holy shit, this closing stretch is about to be insane. And then he just beats him. And I was like, damn, that's, in one way it's strong from a kayfabe standpoint, but I also, the work rate sicko in me wanted that to close out in classic New Japan big match style. I didn't expect Goto to just get beat like that. And the crowd, I don't think the crowd did either. They kind of went silent.
He is one of, like, I don't know if I have said this, because I don't know when the last time I was on your show. It was probably earlier this year, but Goto's 2025, he is getting that Naito level of response out of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I didn't think he was going to walk out with the belt, I firmly believe, because that particular part of Japan is also very close to where Goto is from. Goto's prefecture is a couple of hours south of where Tanahashi's hometown is from. So I'm fairly certain, like, the Kansai, like, central area people, they all probably were there as well. So there's he's like hometown boy adjacent. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things where they in a year where they lost Naito, he was their guy. And I feel like yes, there were people cheering for him at the end, but Goto losing kind of also sucked some of the air out of the building. Yeah.
Crowd's definitely pro Goto there. There's still people trying to decide how they feel about Takeshita. I thought the match overall was awesome. I think I liked their G1 match last year a little bit better. I think they wrestled more of like a never style than G1 match, and this was more like main event IWGP style, which was still great. But I agree with you, Josh. The closing did kind of come out of nowhere because you had Goto rallying through. He hits a Shouten Kai, hits a big headbutt, and then Takeshita just kind of like powers up, hits the Wagamama knee, and does the Raging Fire, and that was it. I was like, oh, I expected a little bit more back and forth there. But besides that, there was some great back and forth strikes. There was a nasty headbutt to the chest that Takeshita did to Goto.
There was one landing where Goto landed on his arm that was taped up, and I was a little worried that could have also been part of the reason why it was cut short.
I don't necessarily buy that, but I thought I did like the arm work that Takeshita did early. I thought Goto did a good job selling that as well. Also, I want to throw a shout out, Charlton and Walker. They're always fantastic, but I thought that they really hit incredible points in both the semi and the main event. One thing that Walker has gotten so good at is knowing all of the obscure names for a lot of these moves, shit that I don't know the names of these moves. And he's saying the Japanese versions of them. And I'm like, this guy's been watching a lot less longer than I have been. And he knows more about the moves names than I do. So that's
he also sits next to Chris Charlton for hours a day. So I'm pretty sure they probably trade notes.
But it was I thought that they did a fantastic job. And two other things that were interesting was early on when they were on the outside, there was a quiet point and you heard a couple of Japanese women shout some stuff. And Chris Charlton was like, yeah, they were literally asking, they were saying, please beat Takeshita Goto is what they were saying. They were emphatically begging him to beat him. And then as the show closed, Charlton was like, there are fans heading for the exits right now. As soon as the match was over, they just started walking out. Now, I didn't see it, but he's mentioning it, so it had to have been happening. And he's like, there's definitely fans here who are not accepting of Takeshita as their champion. As soon as their hero Goto lost, they just started exiting. I don't know how many people that was, but it's worth noting that a company guy is bringing that stuff up on the commentary, and they've tried really hard in the past to avert from having to say those sorts of things.
they're in a tricky spot with the triple contract status of Takeshita, and I think that's one thing that domestic fans, not that they're rebelling against it, but it's they like seeing their championships on the guys that are there day in, day out, and don't have their allegiances spread elsewhere. And it's hard, like with Takeshita, he the day after this tournament, he was on the DDT show the next night in the main event of that show. So I think there's also a concern of where his priorities are. And it feels like, yes, bringing pro wrestling to everybody all around the world is a great goal to have. It is a great concept to have. But with as compartmentalized as the fandoms are within Japan, a lot of the longtime diehards, that doesn't fly with them. That's not what they want. They want their champ at all those teeny tiny house shows all around the tournament or all around the country.
I'm trying to think of any outsider that they've ever really embraced in that role. And the only name that I can think of that comes to mind is like Yoshihiro Takayama, who was like revered for his fighting spirit and his courage from those pride fights and everything like that. And he was able to kind of gallivant and cross the All Japan, Noah, and New Japan, borders because of who he was. He was able to do that. But no one else has ever really been able to do that. Even Ibushi, as loved as he was, until he signed that contract, he wasn't really fully embraced by the New Japan audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those guys, Ibushi, Omega, Ricochet, a lot of these guys that like jumped ship, like it took a while for them to really get the love of New Japan fans. And you go back to the whole Kenta, joining New Japan and calling him Noah trash, and there was definitely a disapproval of him for a while.
The Noah fans are glad to have him back, though. I'll tell you that much. They are loving him back at Noah.
But like New Japan has had outsider champions like Tenryu and like domestic stars that have come back and held the title. And, even like Fujita, and Fujita was a homegrown guy, but when he came back from MMA, he wasn't like received well. He wasn't beloved. Kojima, when he jump shipped All Japan and then he came back as All Japan Triple Crown champion and won the belt, they booed him out of the fucking buildings. They did not want him to be champion. And these were guys that like in a G1, in a dream match, they love him. A Kawada, guys like that, they love him. But when they're going for the top title or it's a G1 final, like a Jun Akiyama, they're not about that shit.
Nope.
And it's always been that way historically. They have never embraced and it is different for someone like a Kenny Omega or a Ricochet, because the way they treat foreigners and the way that they view them is different than the way they view domestic stars.
Correct.
And Takeshita, I have to imagine he's not oblivious to this stuff, but he's not doing himself any favors by continuing to meander between. And I think some of this is also political because of his alignment in AEW and the continuity that's being kept between the two companies, because it's like, here he is shaking Goto's hand, kind of like honoring him, but also saying like, for those that support me, I'm going to bring everything, wrestling to the world, and it's a bigger picture. But for those that don't like me, fuck you. And he's not really embracing the invader role, but he's not endearing him. He's not speaking passionately. Like what New Japan fans want to hear is like, I'm here to fight for you. I'm ride or die. I'm bought in. I carry the soul of Antonio Inoki inside of my body. Like that's the kind of shit that they want to hear. And he's not saying that stuff. And it's very middle of the road, and it's not going to convince any side to really invest in him, even though he's probably a top 5 talent in the world.
Yeah.
He's just one of the best guys that has ever done it, but it's not enough.
Well, and it's also when he calls out to people and he's calling the younger generation, he is in essence talking down to the guys that are raised in their dojo. And that's not sitting well with people either. So it's they're trying to have their cake and eat it too right now. And it's not like Shota Umino 2.0 last year, but it's not getting the the pull I think they want it to have.
Yeah, and that's because I don't really think there were, at least to me, it doesn't seem like there was a full-on clear plan of how we're going to present and use this guy. Because in the G1, it's like, we got him out with Rocky. Yeah, he's a Don Callis heel, but then he's like doing all this selling, and we're supposed to have sympathy for him, and he's supposed to be a babyface in the match, and it's just not really meshing. And they are kind of doing the slow babyface turn in AEW right now, with him potentially going to turn against the Don Callis family and face Okada. But I think, yeah, they need to kind of pick a lane in Japan of, all right, are you going to be this guy who wants to fight for New Japan, or are you the invader? And yeah, the whole handshake of Goto muddies things up. And now, post-match angle, we also had Yota Tsuji coming out, and a lot of people also love Tsuji and kind of see him as the top guy. And it's like, all right, now you're facing the guy that people want to be the guy for so long now. Yeah. I think it would have benefited him to go the full invader route, and then here comes the home promotion hero to fight the invader. Like, it writes itself.
After literally having the segment in the previous post-match where Tanahashi said, "I'm leaving the company to you." Like, that's the level that Tsuji has to contend with. But like, I don't like how they kind of have Takeshita running hot and cold and then kind of lukewarm all at the same time. It's like, pick one.
Yeah. So yeah, post-match, Yota Tsuji comes out with the global title, and essentially looks like we're getting another double gold dash, challenged Takeshita for his belt. Takeshita said, why don't you put your belt on the line too? They both raise their belts, and that's going to be our Wrestle Kingdom world title match, double gold dash, Tsuji versus Takeshita.
Double main event.
Yeah, double main evento.
Which, like, I am excited because that is one of the best matches on paper that we could have, but the way that they got there isn't the most endearing, and it calls into question the booking again and the creative. And I don't know, like,
do you think they're folding the global heavyweight championship into the world heavyweight championship, or are we going to have this either one belt gets vacated or people are going to have to pick the belt that they want to go for?
I would be inclined to believe, because in the past they eventually amalgamated the titles, that they wouldn't do that again, and they'd maybe do like what Hogan and Warrior did, where it's like Warrior won the big belt and he vacated the smaller belt. Goldberg did that in WCW as well. Maybe they could go that route. Maybe he could defend both belts. That usually doesn't typically tend to work so well. But this is probably going to be, and far be it from me to put faith in the creative, but this is probably going to be the payoff to this long-running thing where Tsuji keeps saying he wants to restore the honor of the IWGP and bring back the V4. And if I was a betting man, and I think this is the best option they have, they get rid of the global title and they declare that not only are they bringing back the V4, but they're going to retroactively make the IWGP World title as part of the original IWGP lineage and continue that tradition, which is what they should have done in the first place. So I think he'll bring back the V4 belt. I think they'll get rid of the white belt, and I think that they'll announce that the whole title lineage of the IWGP World title is truly actually part of the IWGPs, and just retroactively fix that.
Yeah, I mean, they never should have taken out in the first place, so that would be a good call. I mean, I could, if they don't do that, I could see, when Naito first won the belt, they did have him defending both. So I could see that kind of pattern. What you said, it doesn't always work out well, and it's weird.
Remember how stupid it was?
Yeah, you have people challenging for the secondary belt only.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you challenge for both
for the big belt
or the big one? Yeah.
And if you beat him, then shouldn't you be challenging for the other belt? Or if he loses, you got your world title losing, champion losing the secondary. It doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah, I don't like double gold dashes, but apparently that's a theme this season. Apparently, everywhere I watch wrestling.
Yeah, Gail's like, I got something for y'all. Oh man, Karen, I know where you had to jump off.
It's all right. Nope.
You're good. All right.
I will drink extra coffee tomorrow morning.
All right.
You guys are special. I don't mind it.
All right, we'll keep running here. Got lots of questions here. Fauci in the Discord says, you think the idea that Goto can win the belt back is a dream that lives forever, or is there a certain amount of times he can try and fail before people give up hope? Is it 4, 6?
I mean, with his popularity this year, I think people would get behind him doing it one more time. It's whether or not the company will let him do it one more time.
I think that his ability to draw could potentially lead to another title run. There have been plenty of guys that have had chances at the title in the history of the company and didn't do good business and just never really got another opportunity. I think because he did do business and there is still a following, it's not completely impossible he gets a second run.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, again, we don't have any other really top established draws yet. None of the young guys have really fully gotten over. So we're in a post Okada, post Naito, post Jay White, post Ospreay world. And so Goto still has name cachet, drawing power, emotional connection. I think this is gone are the days where he's just a lovable loser. Like, he is a credible.
He can still Goto.
He's a credible threat at any point now.
Yeah.
Rich Lada says, how long do we need Gato to be barred from double gold dash matches?
I mean, it is funny we're all calling it the double gold dash just because of the colloquialism, but we don't actually know if that's we don't know how they're going to treat all this. So
it's the trauma of the previous double gold dash that's still lingering 4.5 years later.
Yeah. Wukong 901, what do you guys have main eventing Wrestle Kingdom? People have brought up the idea since it's Tano's retirement, he should main. How many matches do you expect the main show will have?
That is a hard thing. We don't have a lot listed.
Yeah.
And because it is running on television, national cable, that might change the format of the show entirely. And if they do have limited TV time, who knows how they format it? It might not be the 4 or 5 hour extravaganza we've all come to know and love. It might be a tight 3 to 2 hour, 2.5 hours, something like that in prime time, which means you get like 5 matches basically at that point. And that's a real possibility.
The other difficult thing is that the posters that I've seen and the advertisements I've seen like at the Tokyo Dome and that people have sent me, it is literally billed as Wrestle Kingdom 20, Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement, and it is a picture of him. So if he is not closing the show,
he's not. They already said
it's going to be
said
weird.
On the thing he's not. They said multiple times on this show.
He's not He's not
closing the show. They said multiple times that the main event, the final match of the final match. Yep.
Well, they said the main event. They never, it could be double main event too.
They said at the end of the show, the final match. Like, unless, who knows, something could change. You're right, it could change. But right now, that's how they're talking about it. Although they should put it to a fan vote,
Yeah, it's such a difficult spot to be in. Like, the crowd's going to be so emotionally drained after that match. And I'm sure it's going to be flowers and celebration and Tanahashi crying
everywhere.
Yeah, and a big speech. And then you follow that up with Takeshita Tsuji, which is a match people are excited about. It's going to be a great match, but you can be so emotionally drained, so wore out. And then that match comes up and you have to try to get reinvested. I think for the flow of the show, it works better if you do the Takeshita Tsuji thing. Tsuji wins, you do that big thing, and then you kind of close and you send Tanahashi off.
It's going to be a very hard sell because the last thing they would want out of Wrestle Kingdom is to send fans home angry. And I worry that if in the offshot Tsuji does not walk out with that belt, there will be some very angry fans.
Okay, can you imagine if it's Takeshita the one to bring back the V4 and he unify the title? Oh my gosh. Next question here from Ginger and Fringer. If Tanahashi does end up facing Okada at the Dome, do you see that match main eventing over Takeshita versus Tsuji? So kind of a similar question there.
I wish, but I don't think it will.
Yeah. I think if
I just don't want to see Tanahashi Okada again. I want a different match.
I feel like if it's Nakamura, there's a even stronger case for Tanahashi to main event. But if it's Okada, I think you could. There's more plausibility sliding.
A little flexibility in that department.
Yeah.
Another thing I will say about that, if it were Nakamura, and I don't know that it would be, but if it were, they would make more money.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Not only would they will draw more to the dome and potentially rival some of those classic 90s Tokyo Domes attendances, but the amount of attention it would draw for New Japan internationally, which is a market that they're always trying to expand more into and get more eyeballs in and, sell New Japan World subscriptions. That's not going to happen if it's Okada Tanahashi. They'll do good business, but it's going to be far less than what it would be if it was Nakamura.
Do you know if they're also going to be broadcasting it on Abema? Because usually when it's on Abema in Japan, it's a pay-per-view format. Or is it just cable TV? I mean, not just cable TV, because Asahi Television is one of the largest cable companies domestically. But
in the past, what they've done historically, and I don't know if this is what will happen here, there have been times where they have been broadcast on cable, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
And it would be selected matches aired on cable. The rest of the show aired on pay-per-view.
Okay.
So it is possible maybe they do that, but I don't have enough insight right now to say what it is because I haven't researched.
Yeah, and obviously there's still like a New Japan World component to this show as well. So, yeah, I'm wondering with the formatting, if you do that. But then, I don't know, you'd have to get the last 2 hours. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they would format that. Because obviously you want to get the Aaron Wolf match on TV. You want to get the Tanahashi match on TV. So I don't know how you format that.
And I'm sure Stardom is rallying for their talent to be on the TV slot as well.
Yeah, I mean, with Saya Kamatani's star power and her media savviness in Japan right now, it would make a lot of sense to get her on TV as well.
All it says here, according to Tokyo Sports, is it will be aired on TV Asahi, first time since 2004.
Okay.
And the dates and the times are still not announced. Okay. So who knows what that actually ends up looking like.
I don't think it'll be longer than a 3.5 hour show.
They could do the same thing that we talked about where a portion of the show is still available on either
New Japan or New Japan World.
Yeah.
But the big matches get aired on
the TV
Asahi. They could even do just an hour and a half special, the top 3 matches, the Aaron Wolf, the Tanahashi, and the IWGP just on cable. And the rest of the show is not on cable.
Yeah. Staleburger Bun says, assuming Tsuji beats Takeshita at Wrestle Kingdom, would it have just made more sense to have given Tsuji the G1 win and push that Takeshita got?
Yes and no, because they have business partners to appease, and management really, really, really believes in this guy.
Yeah. It's tricky because that would have been nice, but at the same time, who would you have had him beat to get the title? Would they have been willing to let Goto carry the belt all the way to the Dome, or would Zack have been put in that position instead?
I think you could have, with Takeshita and Zack being the same block, you could have still set the title match up with Takeshita just beating Zack in the block, and then you still do the King of Pro Wrestling title match, and Takeshita wins, and then you'd have the natural, Tsuji won G1, boom, here we go. It's a little
Would you have the G1 winner defend his or reconcile his losses from the G1 leading up to the Dome like they had done in previous years?
Yeah, I'd probably go that more traditional route. Yeah, have him beat who he lost to. I mean, he beat Tanahashi here. You could have had him beat the people who beat him in G1, and then it's all right, I'm the G1 winner. You beat Zack, and then you build the match that way.
It still would have been tricky.
Yeah.
Just given who Takeshita is and having to eat that loss and everything, it would have been tricky.
Yeah, I mean, especially with his second G1, I think, they all the politics are in play. He was going to need to win that G1. Then he says, assuming Takeshita wins at Wrestle Kingdom, do you think he retains until Wrestle Kingdom 21 for Tsuji to get that long-term Gato storyline win? And will the company survive a year-long Takeshita reign in its current form?
No,
I don't think it's good for him, and I don't think he would hold the title that long, but anything's possible.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
I do think it's troubling. They keep calling him the forever champion. With one title defense. Why are they saying that?
Yeah.
It's the alpha.
It's I could see him holding on to it till like Dominion, maybe. But then do you have Tsuji win the New Japan Cup again? Why? No. I don't think, unless Takeshita were to commit to New Japan entirely and dropping his alliances with AEW and DDT, but doing like the off-shot visit here and there, kind of like how Zach does with his friends in DDT. If he's not around all the time, I feel like fans are not going to get on board with him being a long-term champion.
New Japan has no history of this either. They don't have any history of anybody holding the title for any sort of length like that isn't
Okada.
Committed. Well, yeah, like it's gonna be guys like Inoki, Vader, Okada, Hashimoto, Tanahashi, Nagata, Muto, Kensuke Sasaki, people that are like dialed in and they're ace figures or top heel gaijin, and like they're staying forever. Yeah. And he's not committed like that. So I don't think that if you did put that much promotional material behind him just to try and transfer the push, the giving the win to someone else a year later does not transfer the push to them. Yeah. All it would do is build him up for that full year, make him an established guy, hopefully, if it even works. And then Tsuji's at ground zero, but when he picks up that win, unless they've done a masterful job booking him throughout the year to just make him so beloved. It's not going to happen. Like this is a farce. There's no way they would ever do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they need some drawing power going into next year. They're losing Tanahashi. They have none of their other top guys. So you need a strong, credible champion.
They will have Goto.
Yeah, they got Goto, but you want your world champion to be a draw and be a part of all these shows.
Whoever wins the title next, it's a rebuilding phase. It's somebody. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be the definitive, this will be the guy, it's all set. I think we'll see some title switches and some tryouts where maybe it's Tsuji for a little while. And then maybe they do go with like Uemura for a little while, or they try Oiwa, stuff like that. Yeah. That's for the next couple of years. They're going to go and give these guys trial runs, but they're going to be investing in whoever is next to really carry the company. And unless Takeshita is like committed, that's not happening. Like they're not going to put that kind of promotional juice unless it's like the president of Bushiroad and, TV Asahi and all that. They're just so enthralled with this guy that they think it will be prudent to feed him all of their future stars for a guy that's not signed to a real long-term committed contract.
I feel like at that level, they would be pushing for a long-term contract. Like if it were Kadani or the president of TVSI, if they were that locked in and like behind Takeshi to that point, they would be like, what will it take for him to cut ties and dedicate all his time to New Japan? And I don't think Takeshi's that. Not that he's not able
they don't
to
get
be
the
that
money.
guy. That, and I think Takeshita enjoys having the flexibility of being able to work the way he works with who he works and how, I think he likes the way he's cultivated his plan. I don't think he'll ever put all his eggs in one basket with New Japan. Yeah. And that's probably the biggest barrier to make him a more permanent, long-reigning champion in that sense.
Yeah. Next question from Doc. He says, what is the likelihood they make a new belt? Will they restart the lineage again?
I think that's what I've alluded to, and I already spoke on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ramblin' Slam Pig says, evergreen question. Is it time to move on from Gato and or whoever else comprises the booking committee?
Yes.
Yes, it has been for a while.
The expiration date has long passed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He also says, if the result of this double gold dash situation is a unified title for new lineage, do you think they take the opportunity to combine it with the V4 and prior lineage, or has that ship already sailed? We kind of covered that already too. He says, if the global title is unified into the world title, what will the history remember as the peak of that belt? Seems like a very short run without a legendary and defining feud or champion to me.
He's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, David Finlay, I guess, is the most recognizable.
Closest, but can you name one of his matches that's not with Tsuji?
Yeah, Nick Nemeth.
The match where he won it against Finlay.
Is that a definitive 5-star classic?
Finlay had good matches, but the best match in the title's history was the first Tsuji and
Gabe Kidd match, where the company seemed like it was cooking with gas, and we were like, oh, this is gonna be it, and then it wasn't.
And it's kind of been downhill from there, really. It's kind of, if it does go away, it's like a forgettable exercise in trying to bring back the IC title, and it didn't work.
I missed that belt. That was a good belt.
Yeah.
That was a pretty belt.
But I like the look of this belt better. I think that this belt is very attractive, but it's just not booked well.
But yeah, it is also a nice belt, but it is not booked well either.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering too, like what they will do with the global gone, because we've kind of seen what happens in a post white belt world where there is no true secondary. They tried elevating the Never title with that Jay White run, and then COVID happened and he wasn't coming to Japan, and it just didn't really fully click with the Never title like that.
My beef with the Never is that they never really let juniors have that belt. They occasionally let them challenge for it, but it's not a true open weight belt. Yeah. So get rid of the Never and just keep the global if that's the case. Like combine those two and make a solid mid belt.
New Japan has never, ever succeeded in actually fulfilling the stated purpose of any title that they've ever introduced.
I know.
Ever.
I know.
So
I say this because I want better things for them. It's in their better interest to listen to me.
I do think, I will say this, getting rid of the IC in hindsight, now a lot of people knew it at the time, but like it was one of the stupidest decisions that they could have made, because it was so established.
Yeah.
That why would you abolish something that had so much value from a drawing standpoint?
Yeah.
With nothing intended to actually replace it.
Yeah, because the Never title never got to that level. The US title never got to that level.
Oh, the US title. Good times.
Yeah. Next question here from MJ Does PR says, if we're dealing with a time constraint card and we're only getting 5-6 matches on the card, then it actually feels like we're probably close to being done with booking. Tana's match, world title, Aaron Wolf, Rambo, women's title already announced, then a tag title match. Are you happy about this?
We'll see.
I guess it would depend on who is in the tag title match. And
Big up.
Oh my God. Stop.
Where my brothers at?
Oh no. I mean, if that's all they have time for, then I mean, I guess we got to be happy with what we're given. But at the same time, I worry that for what they charge, what they are charging for that Tanahashi ringside experience, a six match card is being a little on the lean side. If it's not Nakamura.
If the show ends early, then I'm going to find where that sketchy underground indie show where they just wrap the chains around the posts of that pub are. That's where I'm going, where they wrestle on the mats. So
we're going to Choco Pro or a Gato move.
Gato move.
Yeah.
We are the ropes.
Oh, you need to go to the bar where Chris Brooks has his Baka Gaijin shows. His stupid foreigner shows.
Set of questions here from Def Triangle 720. At this point, do you think the company is coasting by until the Dome?
I mean, I would really need them to pick up the pace or get a plan within the next 4 to 6 weeks. But it kind of feels like we're coasting because I don't. I feel like by this time, most years they have multiple stories flowing, and it feels like everything's in a bottleneck right now, and there's no flow anywhere. And I don't know that that's all because it's hinging upon what may or may not happen with Tanahashi's final match, if that makes sense. Like I don't know what direction things are going in, and again, that's why I don't feel very hyped. I mean, I'll be hyped about the Dome come the end of December, but right now I'm just kind of, I'm kind of meh about it, and I don't like feeling meh about the Tokyo Dome.
Feels fever dreamish.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, this show was filling in for Power Struggle. We've had so many great angles over the years. Jericho calling out Omega, and there's been a lot of great stuff on Power Struggle that really builds and solidifies Dome cards. And yeah, we got the double gold dash angle, but yeah, we didn't get the Tanahashi match. Clearly no junior tag challengers. Nothing really set up with any other feuds. A lot of top guys still don't really have a direction right now. So it does.
You had to watch the Stardom show today to find out there's a setup for the Tokyo Dome show.
Yeah. He also asked, with them teasing a potential Rainmaker return, do you think the company really couldn't bring back Naito for we answered that already. He says, from your point of views, why do you think New Japan are trying to do title for title at the Dome again? Unlike the previous time, Wrestle Kingdom 14, where the writing was on the wall for Naito's story to culminate beating Okada at the Dome with 2 titles that are a part of Naito's story, this time I feel like they ran out of options.
Yeah, bad creative, sloppy shop.
Yeah, and in the event that if the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship wasn't going to main event, they wanted to make it sound extra special with 2 titles on the line.
They've done this.
If it was going to be second place on them.
When they were struggling historically in the Dome, they did this several times. They did it. Actually, I can actually think of 3 times they did this. They did it when they folded the Greatest 8 4 times. They did it. They did it when they folded the Greatest 18 into the IWGP. They did it when they had the NWA and IWGP champions kind of merge. And actually, they did that twice, both with Muto and both with Fujinami and Flair, and then again with Muto and Chono. And then they had 2 times where Nakamura had to defend the IWGP's honor against the NWF champion and then also the third belt champion. And these were all instances where they had, these multiple champions, 2 belts, have the glory and everything. And it's really because they didn't have the drawing power and they needed to add some trinkets to try and draw more because they were struggling.
Next question here. Stay with gas. What are you most excited about for Wrestle Kingdom?
Tanahashi's tears. And my tears.
Yes. I would have said, asked me this a week ago, I would have said Tanahashi versus Nakamura. Now I'm just ready to see Tanahashi cry and to say how much he loves professional wrestling.
Yeah, and I'm also excited to be in the Dome. First time in Japan, first time in the Dome.
You're so much fun.
Watch my dog Tsuji win the big one. So yeah, should be great. Well, that wraps it up for Final Homecoming. We do got a New Japan Road in Anjo coming up this Saturday, November 8th. And the only match that I've seen so far, Tanahashi versus Yuto Ice. And we had a question for Make Way for Slide. Nice to see Tanahashi getting a solo match with Yuto Ice before retirement. Who do you think wins? Does it even matter given the short time that Ice has been back in New Japan?
Yuto Ice is not going to win. He was already beaten recently in a singles match against Uemura. They've already kind of established that even though he's a talented guy, he's a tag team specialist, and that's fine. And Tanahashi shouldn't be doing another major job to a young guy right before the Dome. But I do want to say this. I wanted to gather my ducks in a row when it came to this match, when it came to Yuto Ice. And like his story of struggle to get here is so compelling. This is a guy who, when he was a teenager, wrote to the company and said, I want to be a New Japan wrestler and I want to do a tryout when he was like in junior high or like middle school or like high school. And they didn't respond to it. And then he tried twice to get into the company through the dojo, Noge dojo, when he's like 18, 19, something like that. And he failed the physicals both times and didn't make it in. So then he joins mixed martial arts to try and like get in better shape and learn how to fight. And he was like doing actual underground fighting. He had some fights overseas. And then every time he would win a fight, he would get on the mic and say that he's going to join New Japan Pro Wrestling and become a professional wrestler. And Fale caught wind of this and invited him to the New Zealand dojo in 2019. And he had to be in New Zealand after having failed twice and going through mixed martial arts, spends 2 years there, finally makes it to the Noge dojo in like 2021, finally debuts, breaks his arm, and then is on the sidelines watching all these other guys that were underneath him pass him up. And then when he finally does make it to the main roster, he was like the ridiculed, derided young lion who nobody saw any future in or anything like that. And he kind of just got, partnered up with Oscar and shipped off to Germany. And, no one really thought anything was going to come out of this guy. And he went on like a 7-year exodus, greater than that if you count his failed tryouts, probably like 9 years of trying to make this dream happen. And now here he is in the biggest match of his career facing his idol. It's pretty compelling stuff when you think of it in that context.
Yeah, I think it adds a lot of stake to that match and to this show, which I don't know what else we're going to put on this show, but it does kind of make this more of a must-see kind of match and really questioning who's going to win. But yeah, I think Tanahashi should win, is going to win, get a little bit of momentum going into the Dome.
One thing I really enjoy, the extra added fun layer to this, is the whole what they call the Joge Kanke, the senpai kohai dynamic, where Tanahashi isn't just his Yuto's senpai in the New Japan dojo. He is actually his senpai from the same junior high school.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that was really great about their interaction in the ring after the match, was that he was like Tanahashi patting him on the shoulder and like kind of trying to ruffle his hair and calling him like a kawaii kohai. He's like, oh, don't worry, let this old man take you out and take care of you. It was just really cute. But that being said, we may have some more answers about what Wrestle Kingdom's shaping up to, because New Japan just announced a press conference that's going to happen at midnight tonight.
Of course.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, Jeremy. I thought you saw that. Yeah, there's a conference tonight. There is also a 10-year anniversary Tenryu retirement Cork and Hall event. It's not technically New Japan, but it will be on New Japan World, and it's going to feature a lot of New Japan talent. That's happening tomorrow as well.
Nice.
But I'm not going to pay for it.
Is it pay or is it free?
I thought it was a pay-per-view event. It does show on the New Japan schedule, so maybe it is available. Let me go. It is
showing live. There's no pay-per-view branding on it.
Oh, so maybe we got something else to watch.
I'll watch that. Ain't paying.
I'll watch it with my morning coffee at like 6 a.m.
Well, last thing here, only news item. We had Saya Kamatani's opponent for Wrestle Kingdom 20 being revealed. So Saya successfully defended both her NJPW Strong and World of Stardom championships today against Momo Watanabe at Stardom Crimson Nightmare. After the match, she was confronted by Sarah Ano and the IWGP Women's Champion Shuri, leading to 2 future title matches. So Ano will challenge Kamatani for the World of Stardom title on December 29th at Dream Queendom. And then at Wrestle Kingdom 20 on January 4th in Tokyo Dome, Shuri and Kamatani will go one-on-one in a double title match with both the IWGP Women's and NJPW Strong Women's Championships at stake.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think a lot of... so my understanding is that the Tokyo Dome match is just the 2 New Japan titles. Correct. And then the start. Yeah. So I saw some people like really upset because they're like, there's no way Saya will lose the World of Stardom title on the show just before this. So it's kind of telegraphing and makes that match less. Maybe there is something to that, but I'm pretty sure what's happening here. Now I was wrong. I thought that they were going to fold both of these titles into the World of Stardom title and just scrap the entire, New Japan women's, experiment, but that doesn't seem to be the case, especially with the recent popularity of Stardom and Saya Kamatani in particular. And I think that's why they're getting this big showcase match. And I think they're going to get some time, and I'm pretty sure Saya is going to I mean, I could be wrong. They could definitely put both titles on Shuri, and we're probably going to see those titles combined too, because Strong basically doesn't exist anyways, so they might as well just amalgamate it. But they could go with Shuri, but I think the smarter way to go is to put it on Saya, since she's the big draw right now.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense.
Honestly, I was surprised that, because I am a Momo Watanabe apologist. She was this year's 2025 5-star Grand Prix winner. She is probably one of the people in the company that has been chasing the red belt the longest. She's tried for it either 4, 5, or 6 times, and she still hasn't managed to get it. So it was one of the things where I thought that was how they were going to start to split them, was that Momo would be the one to take this belt off, because it was, everyone's fighting for the red belt. Saori Ano was actually an independent. She is an independent wrestler, but she signed a contract with Stardom about a year or so ago, before Tam Nakano left the company. So Saori versus Kamitani at Dream Queendom wouldn't be the move that I would have made. I was honestly wanting Starlight Kid and or Azumi to be the one to do that, because they actually have longer running stories with Kamitani. But Kamitani's popularity is doing very, very well. They're actually putting her out on more variety TV programming, which is actually helping bring more eyes to Stardom. I think the good thing with Shuri being in the match is that she's going all the way back to her match with Utami a couple of years ago, that kind of drew everybody's attention to Stardom. She is a solid person to put in the ring, guaranteed to have a great match. And, she also has that UFC background. So the casual fans of UFC are the ones who know the more deep divey stuff. They'll be like, oh wait, she has an actual MMA background. That could actually draw more people to watching the match. I think that, yes, the Strong Women's Championship should be folded into the IWGP. The thing about Shuri is that while she's the leader of one of their factions, I believe she's still kind of pseudo freelance. Like, she has a little more flexibility. So I could see them put the belt on her and send her to do more of the international appearances, because Kamitani is wildly popular within Japan, especially in Stardom. She's the kind of talent that if she's not on a show, fans sell their tickets, and Stardom can't afford for people like she's on that Naito level, or previously Mayu Iwatani, Tam Nakano. She's on that level of that tier of talent that's so popular that if she's not on a show or booked for a show that's not a Stardom show that runs at the same time, fans get very, very spicy about that. So,
well, I will say this: the only real reason that they would maybe potentially put it on Shuri is so that she can be the transitional champion to go drop it to Mercedes Moné in the United States, so she can add to her build collection. Because there's no way that Saya would lose to Mercedes, but they've already had Shuri in the US a little bit.
Yeah.
And they would do that.
Shuri has I think she has a contract. I think she has a Ring of Honor contract, I believe.
So that's totally plausible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which means that if that were the case, win or lose, you could possibly see a wild Monet, especially if it's on TV at the Dome.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Mercedes. I just don't think that she should be Saya is my main thing. But if they're going to put the titles on Shuri, they can set up a big match with Mercedes. And
yeah. I mean, the last time she was she had the IWGP, she had to go get elbow surgery. So she ended up being a transitional champion anyway, which makes me sad, but I'm glad she's better.
We had 2 questions about this match, but I think we kind of covered
them.
Yeah.
And I think we should we can push these other questions off to next week that we have. And
we'll push it. We don't got much to talk. We're just gonna talk Yuto Ice and say Bombaclad a lot next week. That's big up.
Where my brother's at.
So there's not much.
Yeah. So we'll push those to next week. Karen, thanks for joining. Tell our listeners where they can find you online. Also, if you got going on.
when I'm not moonlighting over here at Keepin' It Strong Style, you can find me over at postwrestling.com, where I am co-host of the New Japan review shows, as well as the co-host of Post Pro Res, where we talk about all the wonderful stuff going around all of the country of Japan in regards to wrestling. And if you want more information about Stardom Dream Queendom, I'm going to be doing a review for the site. So if you want to learn a bit more about Joshi, I'm your Joshi. So yeah, and you can find me over at Blue Sky and Instagram at Hey Karen Sensei.
Nice. Well, thanks again for joining us, Karen. And next week we'll be back to review the New Japan Road in Anjo and cover all this news in the world of New Japan for wrestling.
We forgot to talk about TJP being in Glade.
Let's break that down next week. Remember, if you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate. Click on the donate button under the Keepin' It Strong Style logo. Make sure to connect with us on social media on X and Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style, at Social Suplex, at Jeremy L. Donovan, at YB_Josh and Liger. On Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/Social Suplex. On Reddit, I'm the Pro Black Guy. Also Keeping It Strong Style. On YouTube, we're at Social Suplex. You can join our Social Suplex Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. You can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com. And check out all the other shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio with Rich Latta and James Boyd. All Things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps AEW Adventure with Matthew Mayer. Wrestling Art Chris Slings. Tone Top with Ali and Leah. And the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review, and we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
It's your bum.
Bumbleclat.
No.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.